Okay, let's see where it put us, shall we? Okay, this is back here.
I'm here.
The Elydians are preparing to attack Hotari.
Status report.
The systems are now fully powered. All torpedo tubes open. They're preparing
to fire.
We should hail the Elydian flagship, Captain.
Readying phasers if you want them.
Stand by. Await my order. Recommendation, Commander? We need to act quickly.
Hail the Elydians. Maybe we could talk some sense into them.
Hail them.
No response.
Try it again.
Still nothing.
The Elydians. They've powered down their weapons.
Odd. You sure about that, Mr. Armand?
They're venting some kind of gas from their ship. Hold on. Now all of their systems have shut down.
That's unexpected.
Commander Ermont, scan them again. We have to be sure.
No mistaking it. They're dead in the water.
What's happening?
There's an energy dampening field coming from Tau.
Take us out of range.
Aye, Captain.
Captain, the flagship is hailing us.
On screen.
Zeldy to the Starship Resolute. Our main power cores are completely disabled. The more power we give, the more it takes. Running off batteries. Life support systems have failed. Unable to ventilate. Contaminated atmosphere.
Admiral, you are about to launch an attack on a defenseless planet.
Kobliat, you sided with the Hotari in the negotiation, but that does not matter now. My crew is going to die.
I'm sorry, I have to find amusement in the fact that when confronted by the captain, he immediately just sidelines the captain and goes to us. Like, holy crap.
Please, I beg of you. You must render assistance.
I mean, yeah, of course we will. Like I said last night, duh! Of course. No, we're going to let you sit there and rot and die.
System failures are compounding around my ship.
We'll help you.
Yes, we will.
Who are you? Oh, right.
Admiral, excuse us while we devise a rescue plan.
By my estimate, the crew only have 23 minutes before their atmospheric mix becomes lethal.
While we may not be able to transport the Elydians directly, if we were to transport them from their ship to a nearby shuttlecraft, it should be possible to amplify the transporter signal there and reroute it to the Resolute.
The Ambassador's plan is incomplete. An away team will have to beam aboard the Zeldy and set up pattern enhancers for a stable enough signal out of the dampening field.
Thank you for identifying...
What is going on with this camera?
Jara, I need a senior officer in command of this. Take Chovak and Bedrosian in the shuttle and get it done.
This keeps up, I'm going to have to give a camera negative because I'm really sick of it. Literally.
You will be part of the rescue mission. As will I. We will bring the shuttle within transporter range of the Zeldy, then beam you...
You know, I'm just going to jot it down because it's been pretty bad for a minute now.
You both aboard.
Beam us on board. Why?
The pattern enhancers must be placed on the Zeldy to make it possible to beam the Elydians back to the Resolute. Gather the pattern enhancers and get to the docking bay.
No, it's called vomit, Rama. And this is a very urgent situation.
We're going on the wrong mission.
Oh, what's that?
We're going to rescue the Elydians, the people that oppress the Hotari, when we should be going to rescue Miranda. This thing that's happened to Miranda is like the Trill symbiosis joining, only worse. And I've seen too many people I care about wiped away by some greater entity to stand by while the same thing happens to her.
I'm sorry, are you an idiot? Like, for real, are you mentally damaged? Do you not realize for a second that Miranda is not an urgent situation, but there are people who will be dead inside of 23 minutes as of a few minutes ago? Also, you were the one who constantly insisted there's nothing wrong with Miranda, while I was the one noticing the obvious signs that she was flipping out 3 separate times.
I wanted no part of it then, and I won't stand for it now. Your body's stolen and used like puppets.
I'm not giving up on her either. We'll get her back.
Whatever it takes.
Right now. We've got other lives to save.
Yeah.
Hey, can we get our heads in the game, please? And I had rights, Rob, but this is the United States. I already wrote this down, right? I did not.
The away team is ready.
Hang on. Hang on.
Resolute to Shuttlecraft Melville. You're cleared for takeoff.
Acknowledged, Resolute. Melville taking off.
Well, she's an unjoined, obviously mortal. Well, sometimes it's me and sometimes it's the game, Rama. Here, I'll demonstrate. Oh my god, we're going through the space! And that's me. See how I just alt-tabbed there? But sometimes the game is just having load issues. Why is there just suddenly this plasma death out here? Oh my god, we're playing Superman 64. Oh yeah, random anecdote. So I decided to look up just roughly how far we are through the game. We just started chapter 19. There are 45 chapters. We're not even halfway through this game. I blame the Combadaji. Not quite as bad, Blue Fusion Bolt. Let's see. Yeah, like we're nowhere. It's weird.
Away from the lightning.
Yeah, I agree. This feels like this should be the finale, at least of part 1, which I guess would make sense if we're about halfway there. Was it actually released in episodes? I mean, I know Telltale games usually are, but I thought they skipped that with this one. I wonder how they divided it up. Because, yeah, each of these episodes is really short.
We're almost there.
Oh, that would make sense, DC Maven. Oh, there's no way in hell or high how...
No!
Jeez. There's no way we're actually starting Doom today, so yeah. Well, now we get to do that again.
Resolute to shuttlecraft Melville. You're cleared for
From the
takeoff.
start.
Acknowledged, Resolute. Melville taking off.
If we take 2 days to get through the rest of this, then I have done something wrong, Fulgrim. Like, failing at this mission over and over. Can't I just fly over here? And avoid the lightning? Oh, you're shoving me into the rings. Okay, got it. That's kind of strange, but whatever. Oh god, the mid-mission checkpoint curse continues. Don't worry, next game we're playing is Doom, which has proper saves. How did... Whatever. Yeah, this is the worst type of minigame. There's not really a lot of gameplay. It's hard to tell what you're doing or where you're going. And it's very, very easy to screw up. Oh, and worst of all, it's boring. Oh, and long. Like, this is only about a minute and a half, but man, it feels way longer than that.
We're almost there.
How did that hit me? Also, no shield regen. So, like, you get hit, that sucks to be you. That health point is gone.
Shield's failing! No!
Resolute to shuttlecraft Melville. You're cleared for takeoff.
Acknowledged, Resolute. Melville taking off.
That was me alt-tabbing. Remember, if you hear the sound still going and the game's frozen, it's me alt-tabbing. Suppose I should test this. Okay, we just have infinite health. That's what it is. Okay. No, that's not the cheat flag. That's the let's get this section over with flag. Yeah, this is story mode. I was just wondering if there was anything else to it, because we haven't tested it yet. But no, no cheat flag. That is the other thing I want to test, wait till all. Because we better be able to turn that crap off, or I'm going to be pissed. How's your day going? Oh, it's really easy, Henson. You see that symbol in the lower right? I'm not even sure what the timer's for, honestly. Like, why is there a timer here? We know there's a lot of fake timers in this game, so it could be literally nothing.
We are within range. Any closer will put the shuttlecraft at risk.
Why? Like, we're beaming on board.
Preparing to transport the away team.
How is...
Energizing.
Also, I don't want to quibble, but how can we beam at all if beaming is out? Like, I don't mean to quibble, but for real. Beaming isn't kind of a gradient thing, you know? It's very binary. So, we can either beam or we can't.
The ship's life support. It's almost completely drained.
Oh, I know. We beamed off the moon earlier, for some reason. We also beamed, there was another beaming that happened, ignoring the one that they did. Now we're beaming it again, and you're probably thinking, but wait, lore, if they figured out beaming, then they could just beam forever. Yeah, except they can't, because the whole reason we're here is because we can't beam people off the ship. Right? That's the whole point of this away mission. So, we can't beam unless we're close enough. What?
And the other systems, too.
Oh, no.
We gotta get to their transporter room.
Also, I hate to point this out, but, like, for real, it's... Obviously, there is a range limit on transportation for obvious reasons, and that's a degree of logical. But the distances we're talking about here are so minuscule as to be barely relevant. We're talking a matter of a few kilometers. Generally speaking, when people are beaming, they're beaming in the hundreds or thousands of kilometers range. That's your range on a transporter. What we've done is we've gone from, like, beaming this distance to beaming this distance. This should not make a noticeable or meaningful variance in how far we're beaming.
The atmosphere in here is turning to poison. All
Really?
of the Lydians are going to die if we don't get them out of here.
Really? Are you sure?
These must close in case of emergency. They don't have enough power left to function. Carter, give them a charge with your phaser. Should make them open.
That's not any kind of logical. Let me just power these things up with some phased ionic energy, or whatever the hell it actually is. I can't remember what it's called right now. The atoms are being, like, ripped apart as the beam goes through it. That's what the phaser's doing. It's phase energy. I honestly don't remember the name of Trill Lady. I can look it up very easily. Yeah, exactly, Darkrai. Remember, we're on a ticking clock here. These people are actively dying from this stuff right now. Yeah, I could press escape, but I'm not going to. I like her being Trill Lady.
It's not working.
No power's running through any of this. We gotta get him open manually.
I am the ranking officer here. State your intentions. We are under siege. Explain yourselves.
What does it look like? We're here to rescue you.
And yet, you cannot even open a door. am still able to stand. What are you trying to do?
We gotta get into your transporter room.
Nothing. Nothing happens if you'd escape here.
Then we can get your people off the ship.
That was a weird sequence for no reason. Also, their transporters apparently work just fine. Yeah, guys, we're in a hurry. Can we go?
Make sure they're evenly spaced. We need to manually adjust beam trajectory so they connect.
I got this one. You get the others.
I'll get one. You get two. Why? Yeah, people are actively suffocating. Right now. Can we have a little bit of urgency? I'm sorry to complain about this, but you know one of my most consistent complaints about Star Trek? A lack of urgency. Now, this is mostly a problem in the Berman era, late TNG and early Voyager, as well as early Enterprise. Because they're doing things that are, like, very urgent or very deadly, either because the ship's under attack or because someone's suffocating or because they're freezing to death, whatever, right? And everyone just acts like they're running a Wendy's. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yep, shields down to 87%. Hail them. No response. Scan their things. 15 life signs. Like, what are you doing? Do something. Seconds count. On screen. God damn it. Just another Tuesday in the office. Seconds count. I know you like to pretend you're not a military, but could you, like, not for a second? Also, did she seriously get one? I thought we were going to get, like, two. Apparently we're getting 4. Thanks, Trill Lady. She really is useless. There's actually a scene in Enterprise, which is probably the worst. She's an unjoined Trill. There's a scene in Enterprise, which is one of the worst examples of what I'm talking about. Phlox is giving a log entry, and he's casually sauntering down the corridor as he's doing so. And I mean sauntering, just like... And we find out that the specific reason he's going down the corridor is he's been called down to, I believe, engineering to treat someone's first-degree fire burns, like skin burn death. I want you to imagine being the guy who just had part of your skin melted off, and you're just laying there like, oh god, and like you're in agony, and half your nerves don't work, and you're probably terrified, and the doctor just saunters in. Doop 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 boop. Oh, I killed her by accident. No.
Right. The pattern enhancers are aligned and ready to go. Let's round them up.
Oh, and maybe it was 3rd degree. I don't know.
So we can transport through the storm. We have a shuttle outside this ship that will route the signal to the Resolute.
All crew to Transporter Room 2. We are evacuating.
We're live.
Here they come.
No rush now. Also, you're gonna die in like 3 minutes if you don't hurry up. So.
Okay, coordinates. Beam status. Energizing controls.
Please step on the platform so we can evacuate you, Admiral.
The crew goes first, Arminta.
Sir.
I mean it.
Ugh, I can feel the drama already.
Get on the platform already.
Okay, the interface is in Elydian, but the layout is the same as a Starfleet transporter. I just gotta do what I did before. Select the people to transport.
Sure.
Plot a path through the ionic interference. Okay, just have to calibrate the signal gain to get the highest possible output. Even at this range, the interference is too much. The system is suggesting better transport coordinates. D, it's the shuttle. You're sitting right in the thick of it. I'm sending you specific coordinates for a clear signal path.
What?
Waypoint's been added to the navigational
Did
computer.
you see that?
There, Commander. Give or take 50 meters.
Yeah, these people are currently dead. They now officially outnumber the living. Oh my god. Why? Remember we shouldn't get any closer? You remember that line from earlier? I just want to remind you of that line as we get closer. Game, could you get out of... I can't... Okay. I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Because the game certainly seems content to. Once again, this is a distance of about 4 kilometers. That is a joke. Yeah, I think that's one of those cosmetic asteroids that just by total random chance happened to drift into our path. Yeah, it's another thing. How fast are we moving?
Away from the lightning.
That. We're moving at about 90 meters per second.
Melville to away team.
What is that? In like a real speed.
Energize.
I have the first group of Elydians in the pattern buffer. Redirecting and transmitting to the Resolute now.
This is Resolute. We have the Elydians safely aboard.
We did it! I was so worried this wouldn't work. We got this.
Good work. Keep it up.
Yes, Commander.
This is Commander Rydek. We're holding steady. Signal is good. Keep them coming.
Yeah, we got 9. There's 107 people on this stupid ship. And of course the Admiral's just standing there. God damn it. I know where this is going. 200 miles per hour, it certainly sounds fast, but think about the fact that this is space for a second. Like, why are we crawling?
Admiral, you're next.
I've made it clear. I only leave after those in my charge.
Sir, I must insist you go so you can lead our people. I will see to any stragglers.
Seriously, punch him and throw him onto the beam pad. God damn, dude.
First, let me thank our human saviors.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please remember that the room we're currently in is filling in with noxious gases, and the Admiral's just sitting there going, ugh, Ugh, breathing in the fumes. Breathing in the fumes. Jesus Christ, go!
I'll pin medals on your uniforms when this is over. For all your brave work.
You're very welcome, Admiral.
Now, please.
Let you wear another fleet's medal?
We will find out.
We're ready for transport.
Get the Admiral to safety.
Energy.
Yeah. I mean, duh, that's what I've been doing this whole time. Stop moving during transport, please.
Massive power surge!
Sending available power to the annular confinement beam. I have the Illidians in the pattern buffer, but I cannot resolve their signal to send them through to the Resolute, nor can I materialize them here.
We need a better position with the Resolute.
Why did you say that, Trihexia? Why would you say that out loud? Why do none of these have dialogue or banter or anything? Is there any tape inside? Like, come on. Joking aside, this is probably the first sequence that deserves a story negative in my mind. There's way too many holes in what's going on, and it's officially broken my suspension of disbelief. There's so many other ways around the dilemmas they've set up here. I get what they're going for. Brave rescue of the ship under limited circumstances. Cool. I'm actually with that. But the problem is they didn't construct it well. And that's ignoring the stupid Superman 64 section we're going through. But I already gave that a negative. That's on the gameplay axis. Is this still going? Why? Why are these so long? Did they not have a QA team? Can we find the credits of this game and see if they had a QA team? What? Something I've already admitted is I'm trying not to be too harsh on this game because this game's kind of a miracle. And I actually mean that with legitimate sincerity. I want you to picture something. I want you to picture that you are a person who's worked at a company for a very long time, loyally and consistently for years. I want you to then imagine that that company goes down under very unusual circumstances. I actually had a whole lore week devoted towards the self-destruct of Telltale because it was wild. So, you show up one day, and you're out of a job. You decide to go make your own publishing company, and publish your own, and get the Star Trek label, and push out your own game. And then it comes out, and then it sells well. Like, that's essentially a miracle right there. I'm sorry.
Come on, hold together.
Like, I'm legitimately shocked this game was... Well, the good news is we've already proven that story mode only lasts for the given minigame.
Massive power surge!
Sending available power to the annular confinement. I have the Illidians in the pattern buffer, but I cannot... resolve their signal to send them through to the Resolute, nor can I materialize them here.
We need a better position with the Resolute.
It's funny because Expanse Telltale was not actually made by the Telltale devs. And yeah, I've never heard anyone really talk about it. That's the Telltale brand, not the Telltale creators. This is the Telltale creators and not the Telltale brand. Apparently, I'm wrong. Ignore me. That legitimately shocks me, Mortal. Telltale shut down so hard and so fast that the new Telltale company is, in every way that matters, a completely new company. So I am amazed that they actually got any of the old devs on board with that. Well, my STO review is current, Talmarid. That makes you feel any better. I believe it got a 90-something on the golden number.
I am losing their patterns. I need more power, but internal relays are not functioning.
I'll do it manually.
That's not...
Do it.
I am trying. I will lose the transport if I do not have more time. The signal is resolving.
Please!
Why is this...
Finish the transport!
I have them. Transport complete.
Why?
She is injured.
Really?
Lieutenant Bedrosian has been injured, but the last transport was successful.
Thanks, B.
Unfortunately, our shuttle systems were damaged by the power surge. We can no longer serve as a transporter node.
Carter, these readings are off the charts. The source of the storm is on this ship. That must have been the power surge when it came on board.
You're right. The Takan energy source. If they call it the Cartabula, it's here.
Is that?
The intruders are preparing to bring the Zeldi to war.
And we're about to be stuck on it.
There is an old Illidian saying about leaping off the hot skillet and falling to the flame below.
Guys.
We got that one too.
Guys, you're right next to a transporter pad. That now has all its power back. And don't give me that crap about the transporters not working when they're not supposed to. We could just beam to the shuttle. Like we beamed here! From the shuttle! Jesus Christ, King. Game.
I hate to say this, but I don't think there's a rescue coming for us. That was our job, so we're gonna have to save ourselves. And with the Cartabula on board, we're gonna have a new job.
Stop it. Stop them.
I like this job.
It's all well and good, but if we're not getting off this ship, we're really backed into a corner here.
We can't get off this ship.
But maybe I could target somewhere
on the ship.
We are reading the warp engines powering up.
Yeah, we picked up on that.
We do not have a way to evacuate you from the Zeldi. The shuttlecraft is too heavily damaged.
We're gonna stay alive. Just do me a favor and try to track us down.
I can assure you, I will make every effort, Mr. Diaz. Live long and prosper.
I hear voices down the corridor.
Be here soon.
I'll guard the door. You just get us out of here, Diaz.
Hey, Stretch. Help us with this map. Find somewhere as remote as you can.
They're almost here.
Crew quarters?
High traffic, easily accessible.
There. The aft cargo bay.
That is acceptable.
Sounds good to me.
Here we go.
Whatever you're doing, do it now!
We're locked.
Hang on. Gotta kill the bot.
Dick, board the transport.
Come on, Belle!
Belle!
No, the red shirt.
It's too late for him.
I mean, yellow shirt.
Read the transport.
Actually. It's Miranda, not.
Energize.
Yeah, seriously, dude. You got that man killed by taking too long. I just want you to be aware of that fact. This is what I mean when I say that seconds matter. God, you people are so stupid. Usually they vary it up in my experience if it mail word, but I don't know. I'll try that. I don't remember where to even do that. Let's see. Probably under here? Nope. Under here? Nope. Here we go.
The Zeldi does not appear to have left any warp signature at all. I cannot track its trajectory.
Ow!
Our duty often calls for sacrifice.
Also, you're an idiot. They left in a direction. So, like, there's your trajectory. We can do that now. It's called math.
She knows it. And our people on the Zeldi know it.
Contact the Resolute, Mr. Chovak. Have them bring us back. And tell them we'll need medical waiting for Lieutenant Bedrosian.
It's probably way too late for that, because she got burned on her face like 5 minutes ago. Like Christ, people. Me too, Ugrad. Because yeah, like just tracking a vector is actually really easy to do. Again, we can do that now. Can we have a little more urgency here, please? Like, she probably has third-degree burns. And you're just... Oh my god, people.
Through your efforts, we were able to save almost 100 Elydians from certain death.
Also, shuttles do have first aid kits!
As for Lieutenant Bedrosian, well, Duval will do her best, but the prognosis isn't very encouraging.
I feel horrible about the whole thing. I just hope she'll forgive me.
Our crew expects us to protect them. It's always hard on us when we can't.
Commander Rydek, I heard what you did. The sacrifice you made for our sake. You saved not only my life, but the lives of my crew. An incredibly heroic deed. All of Elydia is in your debt. We cannot thank you enough.
Just doing our duty, Admiral. I'm sure you understand. If you'll excuse us.
Of course.
Yeah, I think the woman who literally burned her face off.
Ambassador Spock and the rest of the senior staff are waiting for us in the briefing room to discuss just that. I wanted a chance for you and I to speak first, given the circumstances.
You see, there's this desk, right?
Protocol might suggest we alert Starfleet about our situation. Missing crew, the data breach, possible threat from the Hotari, or Khan. I think we're better off keeping this to ourselves. Under our control.
No.
You know what's at stake for me here.
Oh my god. Dude! Dude! Can we get him scanned? Is he a Takan agent? Because, dude, I know that desk is legit and all, but come on.
And what is at stake for you, too? I can't afford another mission gone wrong. And I'm really counting on your support. I don't want to raise a false alarm just yet. And I have every confidence we can wrap this up before it gets any worse than it already is.
I'll follow your lead. We can keep this under wraps for now.
That's a lie, by the way.
Always nice to know you have my back. One of the primary reasons I brought you on board. I made the right decision.
And in turn, I hope you'll have my back as well.
Of course. Loyalty like yours doesn't go unnoticed. Or unrewarded.
You know, that's a good point. I'm assuming the game lets me lie, because what it usually works in the Telltale games is there's a bunch of choices leading up to the choice that only affect the flavor, and then the choice itself hits. So what I'm assuming that's the format here, right? So I can lie to his face and be like, yeah, no, I'll totally keep this under wraps. And then later on there will be a real choice, which is like, hey, Starfleet, yeah, listen, we got to talk. So my captain here, do me a favor. Just send him a desk, okay? That's all he wants is the stupid desk, okay? It'll solve everything. Just, yeah, mahogany, train whistle, yep. I think we had some latinum inlays, something like that.
We're ready in the briefing room, Captain.
On our way. Is there any update on our efforts to trace the Zeldy's warp signature?
Unfortunately, no. Somehow they were able to mask the signature and block our ability to track their trajectory.
That doesn't work that way. You have visual eyes, right? You have records visibly of they went that way. And you have the ability... oh, Jesus Christ. We could do that with a sextant. You have a computer. Yeah, we have the Mark I eyeball, right?
I'm also concerned about what went with them. A Taconian energy source.
Sidron referred to it as the Cartabula.
Yes, I've been analyzing your tricorder scans. This Cartabula is more powerful than any energy source on record.
You know, Zaluk's right. There is one person on board who doesn't have the Mark I eyeball anymore. We need to get her the Mark II eyeballs.
It disabled our ability to warp and likely created the ion storm.
We have to find that ship.
It could be anywhere by now.
Literally anywhere.
I have faith in our away team. They won't give up easily, and if they can somehow manage to stay alive, then maybe they could get word to us about their location.
That'd be a hell of a lucky break.
Right now, we need all the luck we can get.
I'm sorry, I know I'm coming down harsh on this we can't track their trajectory thing, but the problem is, that's extremely stupid. What they mean is we can't detect them on scanners. You could tell based on the way that the sentences are constructed and the way this plot is going, that's what they mean, but that's not what they're saying. We can't detect them on scanners is fine. They have some kind of masking or cloaking tech. Sure, I could buy that. Ignoring the fact that cloaks literally exist in this setting, the idea to try and mask electromagnetic signatures to prevent someone from being able to show up on a long-range scan is, again, the kind of thing we have access to now. So, theoretically at least. So that's fine, but that's not what they're saying. It's the hull plating thing all over again, right? Hull plating is offline. What they mean by that is the system that is powering the polarization of the hull has run out of juice and therefore is no longer providing extra protection. But that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is hull plating is offline. And I'm sorry, it just sounds stupid.
Khan also compromised our systems when Petty Officer Maris stole data from our computer core.
We're assessing what was lost as we speak. It's just too soon to say exactly what they had access to.
Starfleet needs to know about this.
We're not contacting Starfleet until we fully understand the situation. There are too many unknowns.
They stole our data. That's reason enough to warn Starfleet.
But the captain does have a point. It might be better to wait until we know more.
We shouldn't take any chances. We should at least alert Starfleet that our system was compromised.
I agree with Commander Rydek. We should let Starfleet decide how they want to handle it.
And essentially tell them this mission was a failure before it's even over? No. I thought we discussed this. I want to speak with the Hotari and get to the bottom of this before we get Starfleet involved.
I expect we'll meet resistance. The Hotari think we violated our neutrality by entering their minds. Assuming the negotiations are off, we no longer have an official role here.
We still have a responsibility to the Hotari and the Illydians.
Also, we still have legal justification for being here because some of our people are on a ship that just took off. So we actually do have legal right to be here. Ignoring that, obviously, we also have the ability to, keep being involved because we're investigating a dangerous situation, which falls under the, I forget what that's actually called, emergency measures kind of a thing, right? If we don't have any legal justification to be in a system, but the star's about to go supernova, and there's a planet nearby that's inhabited, most of the other red tape kind of goes away for the duration of the emergency, right? That I'm not actually making this up. This is a real thing, even in Star Trek. So, yeah. That's true, Blade Travell. You're absolutely right. Do you know the real reason the hull plating thing pisses me off? Let me say it differently. Shields are down to 67%. Shields are offline. The problem with the hull plating is that the idea of the NX-01 not having shields and relying on some other system to function is actually a very cool idea and one I plan to use in our Trek. The problem is that's not what they did. In terms of the narrative, all they did was replace shields with the phrase hull plating, and otherwise it applies 100% literally and laterally. It even interferes with beaming in several circumstances, just like shields do. That's my big problem with it. All they did was Control H, or no, Control R, I think. Whatever. They find replaced. They find replaced shields with hull plating. Also, if I'm being completely honest, the idea of polarizing the hull in order to add armor to the hull is actually kind of stupid for several other reasons. Especially because at that point, all it is shields! It's just shields! Just have shields if you want to have shields!
Are a threat to both their civilizations.
No. They're a threat to us all.
Oh, God damn it.
The device Commander Rydek found in the Taconian Vault is an advanced delivery mechanism for a complex biogenetic transformation process.
Meaning what, exactly?
Not only are they bioforming innocent hosts, transforming them into Takan, they're taking the DNA and engrammatic data of a specific Taconian and displacing that of its host. It's a hostile takeover on a cellular level, bringing individual Takan back to life, one by one.
Is there some way it could be reversed?
That's exactly what I've been trying to find out. So far, it appears the answer is no. Once the Taconian takes control, the displacement of the host is irreversible. And the bioforming appears to be permanent. Petty Officer Maris called herself a scion of the Flame, but the computer had no information about it.
She also shot the hell out of my ship as she escaped and nearly killed a few of our crew. So we know this about those scions. They're dangerous.
Thank you, as always, for your valuable contribution to this meeting, Captain Deskface.
The Takan have crossed a line. That much is certain. However, meeting with the Hotari could offer insight into their true intentions. Under the pretense of an apology for betraying their trust and trespassing on their territory.
If we go to Hotari, we go expecting a fight. Phasers armed, transporters locked to all our comm badges, security officers on standby.
Of course, we'll take every precaution. Come in ready for whatever they might try to do.
With the Cartabula gun, I can confirm we have regained warp capability and the use of our transporters.
Hey!
Commander Ermot, see if we can arrange a meeting on Hotari as soon as possible. As Ambassador Spock suggested, under the pretense of an apology.
Aye, Captain.
Nice work, everyone.
So, let's talk about mutiny. Thank you, 10-headed Hydra. Diverting emergency auxiliary power. To Overlord. 1. Civilization 7. And Red Dead Redemption.
You're long overdue for a Diridium infusion.
Oh, hey, that's coming up again.
It looks like I am.
I honestly thought they forgot. Believe it or not, a lot of people on a ship have the power to take out a captain if the captain's compromised. In fact, any flag officer does. That is to say, bridge officer. So, for example, the security chief could do that. The chief of staff could do that. Chief medical officer, the CMO could do that. The XO obviously can do that. In Star Trek, that's, I guess, mostly it, but you get the idea. For some reason, and I've never fully understood why, Star Trek always feels like they over-dramatize replacing the captain. I know that sounds weird, but you know what I mean, right? Like, whenever they talk about knocking Picard out of command because he's been compromised or replaced by an alien, like, they spend 20 minutes debating about it, arguing amongst themselves, and it takes like 4 or 5 senior staff to all negotiate to be like, okay, hang on. And then they go and they chat about it to him. And something about that has always bothered me a little bit. Yeah, it's over-dramatized, exactly. They do over-glorify the captains in this setting, in both a good way and a bad way. And yeah, this is a good reason why Turnabout Intruder was so stupid. It's mutiny! We have skin grafts, right?
I'll give you 2 a moment, but she needs her rest.
I understand.
Commander Rydek? Is that you? I thought I heard your voice.
I'm right here.
Where?
You know what? I think you're absolutely right, if a male word. That also might be part of why that's an order is treated as magic command words in Star Trek. Now that sounds like some kind of joke for the sake of a YouTube, clickbait title, but no, I'm 100% serious. Have you ever noticed, especially in the Berman era, which is, again, late TNG, early Voyager, and early Enterprise, if someone says that's an order, that magically overrides everything. Up to and including Borg assimilation, by the way.
Before you say anything, I just want you to know I don't blame you for what happened. I heard that last transport made it through. That was our mission, to save lives. So, I'm glad it was a success. And Dr. Duvall tells me she can get me my sight back. Eventually. I just hope this isn't the end of my career. Can't be much of a tactical officer if you can't see what's coming. But this is all I've ever wanted to do.
I have absolute confidence in Dr. Duval. If she says she can restore your vision, then I truly believe it's possible.
Also, and I know the characters don't know this, so I'm not holding this against the episode, but we know that they have really good medical tech, specifically when it comes to eyes. Remember, this is 2380. This is after Nemesis, which is after First Contact, during which we first saw Geordi with his artificial eyes. Remember, Geordi was born blind. She was damaged, which means she already has the neural pathways in order to access and work with. Whereas Geordi, and if you remember, this was actually a plot point, they had to invent ways to translate visual sight to him because he was never born with it, right? Like, that was kind of the point there. I don't know if that tracks in medical logic. I don't care. Because the point is, we got you. Don't worry. They don't know that, of course. And honestly, the commander here is probably absolutely drowning in guilt.
I hope you're right.
All right, you two. Lieutenant Bedrosian needs her rest, and you have an infusion waiting for you.
I will check in on you soon. I promise.
Also true on Falkenstein.
To it.
It is an episode. It's not a bad thing.
Aside from almost running out of Duridium, you're in good health.
Nice to get some positive news for a change.
You I don't worry about. The captain, however...
It's mutiny! It's mutiny! Sorry. If you haven't seen Turnabout Intruder recently, do yourself a favor. Watch it sometime. It's extremely bad. It's one of the worst episodes of all of Trek. But the way Shatner says the word mutiny in the latter half of the episode is nothing short of hysterical.
Go on.
You see it, don't you? He's desperate. Withholding intel from Starfleet just to save his reputation. That's not normal behavior for a captain. I was relieved you called him out on it. You've spent enough time with him now, seen enough of how he runs this ship. If there's something wrong, as the ship's doctor, I need to know. Don't sugarcoat it. You know I wouldn't.
To be honest, I'm worried about him. Seems like the stress of this mission is getting to him. He has so much riding on its success, and I am concerned he'll do something rash to ensure it.
Good to know we see eye to eye on this. And I want to be clear. I care about Solano. I really do. I've been his doctor for years. There are more important things at stake than offending an old friend. If it gets any worse, you know where to find me.
I kind of get this, because Blateval's right, this isn't a medical problem. However, as much as I made kind of a joke earlier, the more people you have on your side when it comes to replacing a captain, the better. And having the CMO on your side for that, well, that's pretty much the queen on the chessboard. You know what I mean?
Jara.
Monitor your Duridium levels. I'll be right back.
How's your wound?
Like it was never there. I feel lucky you were there with me. Without you, I'd be, well... Thank you for saving my life. Even with the wonders of your technology, it wouldn't have mattered if you'd left me for dead.
I should be thanking you. You took that disruptor shot for me. Without you, I might be the one in sickbay, or worse.
Well, I couldn't just let you die. Not after all you did to help.
I won't forget it.
We saw the truth down in those mines. What Sidron and Galvin really are. Who they've become. The lengths they're willing to go to. What they did to that Elydian. It's hard to accept. That everything I thought I knew, so much was a lie. The horror of that underneath our feet the entire time.
It's always better to know. No matter how awful, the truth is better than living with a lie.
I am coming around to that thinking as well.
Commander Rydick, you're needed on the bridge at once.
What is it?
The Hotari have agreed to meet.
Dun 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 wow 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 wow. Sorry. Him. Yeah, but Dead Bay doesn't have the same ring to it, does it, Tom? Can I just say that I've slowly been coming around to, oh god, I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Did I not write it down? Oh my god, I didn't write it down. Tylus. Did I not write it? I didn't write it down. As being my favorite character so far. Meanwhile, at the Fortress of Doom...
They haven't found us yet.
Actually, yes, they do, Blitchful. Medical bay.
We can't just wait to be rescued. We have no idea when or if the Resolute is gonna catch up. But if we can get access to the Zeldi systems, we might be able to figure out what the Takan are up to. You got somewhere we could do that?
Follow me. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have anything quite as awesome as the finger gun scene.
Up there?
Why are you suddenly not talking?
Metzelar, let's do this.
The internal sensors.
The what?
When they scan the ship for life signs, they'll know right where we are.
Well, yeah.
Must be devices that perform the scan.
Right there.
But...
And there. There's several of them around the room.
Yeah, because...
We'll disable them.
How? They're too high to reach, even for me.
We have phasers.
For our phasers.
Low power, Nelly. Let's not set off any fire alarms.
I got the ones over here.
Also, I hate to disagree with myself, but shooting a gun on a ship set off an alarm, like 100 years ago in Star Trek VI. And it's the kind of thing that should set off an alarm, because there's been an energy discharge on a ship.
Got one. Another down.
Hurry, Carter!
I am.
Why did that not register?
Only one left.
There it is.
Here it comes. It worked. They won't be able to detect us.
That buys us some time.
Now that the Zeldi has its power again, I might be able to access some of the ship's systems from here. I'll take care not to give away our position.
The Takan might not even know we're still on board this ship. Miranda only saw us transport away. She probably thinks we're back on the Resolute.
Miranda.
Don't give up on her yet, Carter. For all we know, she was trapped, watching it happen. Fighting it the whole time.
It never hurts to hold on to hope.
That is not true.
Especially when it's someone you care about.
By the way, good morning, Ross.
I know it looks bad, but we're gonna get her back. I won't let her go.
Yeah.
I know it seems like we could never trust her again. But maybe there's a way to turn her back and Miranda could help us stop the Takan.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Sure, lady, I know you have the rough intellectual quotient of a rock. But what about Miranda would make us not trust her again? Like, where is that coming from? Assuming we are able to fix her, which we are all assuming. Like, where does that come from? You know, you were mind-controlled by an evil force. I don't know if I trust you anymore. Maybe you are trying to hand me a cup of coffee. Or maybe it's been poisoned. No, she's unjoined. She mentioned that earlier.
Here, on the ship. Just because the Trill joining is permanent doesn't mean the Takan bioforming has to be.
I've heard enough of your prattling on about your friend. You have to think like a soldier. She's our enemy now. She'll be dealt with like the rest of the Takan.
My friend Miranda is not responsible for what she's doing. The Takan have taken control of her mind. We certainly can't kill her for it.
Speak for yourself. If anyone threatens the Empire, they are the enemy. It's just one life, and it's already been lost.
I'm sorry, I'm actually kind of with him here. Now, this is Star Trek, so we'll probably find a way to help Miranda, but seriously, in most settings, he's right. Like, I know we can undo assimilation, but we probably shouldn't be able to undo assimilation. And if someone's assimilated, then, yeah, no, they should be gone, right? And yeah, we literally can reverse people being turned into salamanders, although we all like to pretend that that's not canon.
You don't get to talk about Miranda.
You don't get to ignore the truth.
We don't like this any more than you do. The Takan are a threat to all of us. They turned our crewmates too. Do you really think they're gonna stop there?
No.
And yet we still risked our lives to come help you, and not everyone made it.
I'll grant that you showed your grit and effectiveness. More than I can say about accessing ship systems. They blocked out helm control, propulsion. They're closing down systems faster than I can check them. They're always changing these interfaces. I can hardly keep up.
Wah, wah.
Let us help.
Fine. They're using a senior officer's access code to lock down our systems from the bridge. The Takan must have turned someone in command.
Here's something. I can see the course they have plotted in. Long way from Hotari space.
I hope the Resolute is all right back there.
Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
The Zeldi. That's where we are.
That's not exactly news.
The Lydian fleet has explored a lot of systems, but it's all in the opposite direction of where we're going.
Uh-huh.
We're headed to the edge of the galaxy.
Nothing but uninhabited systems along the way. And if we keep going, we'll leave charted space. A lot sooner than I like to think about, too.
That can't happen. We need to take control and turn this ship around. Get back to the front lines of the battle for Elydia.
We are on the front lines. They're going to do this all over the Quadrant. The whole Federation is at risk.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is a very telltale problem. So, Bragwin and... who do I want to pick on? Mr. Red are both here to help fight, I don't know, the zombie plague. And all of a sudden, someone drops a candy bar. And Mr. Red's like, hey, do you want half the candy bar? And Bragwin's like, yes, I would like half the candy bar. And then Mr. Red's like, what do you mean, half the candy bar? I was offering you half the candy bar. And then Bragwin's like, yes, and that's what I'm going to take, whether you like it or not. And then Mr. Red's like, oh, yeah? Well, just for that, I'm not going to give you half the candy bar. Oh, you bet your ass aren't. Then Bragwin draws her gun, and then Bragwin draws his gun, and they're facing each other for the half the candy bar that they're both willing to offer each other. There is no drama here, no natural drama. It's Telltale has this weird thing where they randomly pick two characters. This is in all their games. Borderlands did this too. This is in all their games. They just make these two characters butt heads over absolutely nothing. And in almost every case, it's then forgotten as soon as they get their drama quotient out of the way. And yeah, it's almost always down to you two. You have to choose who gets the candy bar. And that's how World War III started. Over a frickin' Butterfingers.
That is a possibility, but it's already a reality for my people.
I'm sure it's pretty damn real for the people who are trapped in their own bodies controlled by the Takan.
Like, why are these two people arguing right now? For real. Let's ignore abstract. Why are these two people arguing? Both of these people know that the Takan possess people. Both of these people are anti-Takan. Both of these people are on each other's sides. Both of these people have helped each other out multiple times. Why are they arguing? What are they even arguing over? Like, he was like, we need to get back to the front lines. And she sounded angry about that. Like, we're already on the front lines. This is going to happen everywhere. And he's like, yes. And it's already happening to my people. And it's like, they're agreeing with each other. They're literally agreeing with each other. It's...
You can't just turn your back on them.
I'll take this ship without you if I have to. And I'll bring it back to Lydia, or I'll destroy it. I won't let it stay in the hands of the enemy.
Think strategically. We stand a better chance by working together. You're right to be angry, but it doesn't do any good to turn it on us.
Fair enough.
The most important thing is that we get control of this ship, so that we don't end up so far away that the Resolute can't ever catch up to us.
And if we control the Zeldi, that also means they can't use that Cartabula thing.
I'm not sure we can do much more from here.
Notice the argument's already over, by the way.
What's this?
I told you. The moment they've hit their quota,
Looks to be a two-way communication.
back to whatever.
Let me see if I could put it through a demultiplexing processor.
A what?
Can you get that clearer?
I'm trying.
Oh, sorry. There's gameplay here. My bad. My bad.
Okay. That should do it.
Hello? Can you read me?
Itasca, is that you?
Major!
It's my lieutenant. Where are you?
I'm here with some of the others. We're trapped in the ATP.
Our artillery targeting platform.
The bulkheads are sealed, and ruptured power conduits on the other side are discharging at high voltage. Major, we've seen Sidron and the other Hatari, and if we can get free, I think we'll be able to overpower them and take back the ship.
Itasca, are you still there?
It's the Takan! It's the Takan!
Itasca, are you still there?
You shouldn't trust anyone else you meet. The Hatari have been transforming people on this ship.
It's the Takan!
Bioforming.
It's only a matter of time before any remaining crew are turned against us. You have to come and help us.
I gotta ask, are you sure that's really your comrade?
It's Itasca. You're going to have to trust me. I know Lieutenant Itasca well. That's her. Clear and not under duress beyond our current circumstances. I'm sure of it.
I can do that, Major.
Then we don't have time to lose. We'll make it to you undetected, and we'll free you from the ATP.
We'll be ready and waiting, sir.
I may not know the computers very well, but I know every inch of this ship. I can get us there, safely, through the back routes.
Well, then let's do it. Right after I jot down a note. Do I already have him down here? Nope. No, but I got a gun. Meanwhile, on the planet of doom,
may approach.
Your Majesty, an apology is in order. The Federation...
Spare us your apologies, your excuses, your pathetic explanations. You said you were here under the pretense of peace, yet you trespassed into our minds. I should have known you couldn't be trusted when you sided with the Illidians. Your intentions have been clear from the start.
We knew you were hiding something. We had to find the truth.
I hope you were satisfied with what you found.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Her actions nearly caused a war.
I was addressing the Queen.
Galvin speaks for the Hotari now.
Fortunately, we were able to resolve this ourselves despite your interference. The Illidians have agreed the mines will remain under Hotari control.
We now recognize the Hotari as the sole authority in this region. Your presence here is no longer necessary.
So you can consider the matter resolved.
That makes no sense. What did they do to you?
They convinced us that this was the best deal we were going to get.
I thank you for coming. But the sooner the Federation leaves, the better.
The hell we will.
Captain?
What about my crew trapped aboard that ship? Or what you did to my security team? The data you stole? I want to make one thing clear. No one is to leave Hotari space without Federation approval. No one.
You think you have that power, when in fact you have none. You came here under the presumption you would be the ultimate authority. That you would show up and render judgment in this petty dispute over precious resources between lesser people. But instead, your arrogance and self-interest was your undoing. Blinding you to the real power at work here. Something far beyond your feeble imagination.
Enough of this nonsense. You're not fooling anyone. We know you're Takan.
Takan. A word I haven't heard in a very long time. At the height of our power, the Takan Empire spanned hundreds of thousands of light years, and trillions of Taconians.
An empire that encompassed what is now considered Federation territory.
What's yours was once ours, so it feels only right that we reclaim what was lost. Everything you hold dear will be gone. The first of many painful losses to come.
You do realize this will never work. The Federation will stop you no matter what it takes.
Will they? From what I can tell, the Federation is little more than a loose assemblage of the weak and the misguided.
You ever heard of the Dominion?
But I certainly invite them to try. You might be surprised how many want to be part of the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever seen.
Hey, the Iconians say hi.
We will not stop until we've reclaimed what is rightfully ours.
And the Preservers.
Imagine what a queen, a starship captain, or even a Federation ambassador could accomplish if their power was wielded by a truly superior entity. In the face of such impossible odds against an adversary so clearly more advanced in every way, the only logical choice is to submit.
Never.
Yeah, we...
Seize them.
I'm sorry. Didn't we have, like, transporter locks? I'm sorry, I don't mean to complain about this. Let me explain something to you. There's one episode of Voyager that trips on this, and a few other episodes of DS9 and TNG that trip over the same plot point. It's like this. Maintain continuous transporter lock, right? So, okay. I'm gonna stay locked on, and then, oh my god, something goes bad, so the call comes down, beam them out. And the response is, sorry, I don't have a lock. Think about that for more than 5 seconds. Because what that means is they didn't have a continuous transporter lock, and the moment it was lost, they should have reported it in. Yeah, that's ignoring open comms, which is another thing they can do.
Get us out of here, now!
Rydick to Resolute. Beam us out.
Thankfully, looks like they actually did have a thing there. Oh my god, you're right, Ross! That was what it was!
Done something like this before?
They weren't doing the minigame.
Combat? Infiltrating an enemy stronghold?
Something like that.
I once spent 6 days crawling through sewers during the siege of Tofar Ket to retake the citadel there. That's just one of many campaigns I've served in. My dress uniform is well decorated. I can assure you of that.
I'm sure you've given yourselves plenty of medals.
I'm glad we're here with you. We need your kind of experience.
I should say you do. And I'll be glad to have Lieutenant Itasca with us. She fought shoulder to shoulder with me in that siege.
So you're pretty close, huh?
She's like a daughter to me. She's saved my life more than once. She's more than just a comrade in arms.
That must mean she's a good soldier.
The very best.
We saved your life. What does that make us?
We aren't out of danger yet. But once we have my comrades, proper soldiers, we'll be able to retake the bridge. Then, our fleets will catch up to us. The ATP is just down that corridor.
Knowing Telltale Games, in the last couple of episodes, we'll have a choice between her and him. I'm going to choose him. I'm just going to let you know that right now.
Is this the artillery platform?
This is the power distribution for the forward armament cluster.
It's,
There was combat here. Disruptor burns on the walls. Signs of a grenade detonation.
If there was a fight, the Takan might still be nearby.
Maybe my people killed them.
Or they could be waiting for us.
And that's a problem for when we meet them.
The distribution conduits have been knocked loose. The currents in those lines would be lethal. Is there any way to power those down?
Each circuit has a control panel that regulates power to the magnetobanks.
I can track connections between the power lines and the control panels.
I'm sorry. I know exactly what he means by magnetobanks, but I'm just picturing Ian McKellen over there being like...
I should be able to clear a safe path to your crew.
We'll get the door open here.
It's heavy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fast benders in the magnetobanks. Yeah, I like Days of Future Past more than I thought I would. It has its issues, don't mistake me, but it's enjoyable. Then again, I unironically like First Class, so what the hell do I know? Really? Okay. We don't talk about Apocalypse. And we really don't talk about the Dark Phoenix one. Which I don't even remember the name of, but it was the Dark Phoenix one. I saw that in theaters. Yeah. No, I don't think anybody actually watched New Mutants. Hello, Off the Deeper End. Happy Friday. Nope, still nothing down there. I'm glad you're liking it, Roz. I hope you're liking this, too. For what it's worth. We did have our first major story screw-up point. So, you know, yay. Finally ripped off that Band-Aid. Hopefully it's a bump and not an indicator. Yeah, true enough. Oh no!
You! Federation, you made it.
Barely. There's a lot of collateral damage out here.
They'd backed us into a corner.
We did that to drive them out. Put some space between us and the enemy. They're here. Get down!
I think they've given up on capture.
We'll never make it if we go back that way. You! Give me a hand with this! Go! Go! Behind us!
They came from behind. So now we have red barrels. I mean, they're not, but... Now we're killing people instead of stunning them. Sweet. And now we're dead. Oh, thank God. The sweet mercy of death.
Behind us!
Still better than STO ground combat. Sometimes called a low bar.
Go, Federation! You take the lead. We'll keep them busy.
That's a good point. We can't open a portal to the sun. That would be nice, though, wouldn't it? Just hang on. I got this. What's that?
Fall back! Hold him back! We can't let him reach the stairs! No! You can't just run in there.
Must live to fight.
Okay, they're doing worse than killing them.
We let the enemy take them. Hadri and Private Turo.
They weren't the only ones. But if we hadn't, it would have been all of us. I'll have to live with that, and I'll answer for it when I die. It's not the Illidian way to leave one of our own behind. It's a sin to do so.
We've lost people too. I know it's not easy.
What makes it worse is that when we were in there, trapped, Hadri is the one who said that we had to live to fight. And we all agreed. We said if one of us was taken, the others wouldn't stop. We'd keep going, make our way to the bridge. They died so we could fight on.
The Takan don't want them dead.
They want to steal their bodies. And steal their minds.
The Takan knows everything the host knows.
That means they know our plan. They know we're heading to the bridge.
So, new plan. Right? Like... Right? Thank you, offshore Twitch account. Always appreciate if you give me a moment here. That's going towards Guacamole, Gunk, and Plants versus Zombies. Is that on the list? Can someone check that for me, please? What? Your Elotro quests are amazing. There's so many of them. There's so many of them. What? That's confusing. Thank you, Innocents, for checking. I'm going to ask a strange question off of Twitch account. How many subs did you just intend to gift? That's what I thought. Yeah, Twitch just decided to randomly give out 2 subs. Which I'm pretty sure doesn't mean anything, but that's just weird. I've never seen that before. I mean, it means 2 people don't have to deal with ads, I guess. I mean, sure, it's September, but like, September. But like, it's the end of September. Why hasn't that been happening for the last 4 weeks, you know? Anyways, so we're putting that towards Simpsons. Run. What's the Splinter Cell game? Specifically? Oh, it's Double Agent, isn't it? Blacklist? Is Blacklist on the list? Maybe Cauldron, I don't know. That wouldn't surprise me. Okay, Blacklist is on the list. Okay. Because I was saying, I know Double Agent isn't. Because that's still in the We'll See category. Either way, thank you for the subs, Offshore Twitch account. Always appreciate. General quarters. All hands on deck.
Tylus, you should be in sickbay.
I'll finish this.
Stab.
I couldn't just lie there knowing the entire fate of Hotari hangs in the balance. How did it go? You look exhausted.
It went about as well as could be expected, under the circumstances.
Oh, that's a relief, because I was fearing the worst. I heard a rumor that they'd made a deal, that the Elydians agreed to peace. After what we saw Sidron do to the diplomat in the mines, I could hardly believe there was hope, but then... Is that true?
I'm afraid the truth is far worse than that.
There's no deal.
No. They're all Takon now. The Hotari, the Elydians, everyone.
No. That can't be true.
I'm sorry.
Where will I go? I can't go back. I don't have a home anymore. Everything I've ever known is gone.
Hotari isn't lost yet. This is far from over. It will be your home again, I promise.
Thank you.
The Federation stands with the Hotari. You don't have to doubt it for a second.
Yellow alert.
Commander Rydick, we need you on the bridge immediately.
Yeah, the woman who voices Tylus is actually in a lot of stuff, but nothing I recognize.
Commander.
Good to have you back. You didn't opt for the ocular implants.
Maybe someday. The visor was the best the doc could do on short notice.
We've got an Elydian ship, the Veskar, rapidly bearing down on our position.
Or what was the Veskar. Now I'm not so sure.
Bring it up on the view screen.
600 kilometers in closing. Still coming straight for us. Commander?
Should we put our shields up? Just as a precautionary measure.
I'd like to avoid escalating this any more than we have to. Whatever the hell this is.
400 kilometers in closing.
Shields up. Ready phasers.
Also, I hate to quibble, but yellow alert automatically means shields go up. That's what yellow alert means.
Shields up. Phasers ready. It's incoming.
Lock phasers and open fire.
Heavy damage. But deflectors still at full power?
That bypassed our shields entirely.
That's impossible. God damn it, return fire. Everything we've got. Rydick, modulate the shield frequencies. See if we can get us any cover.
Commander,
I've got this. Just keep firing.
Shields still have no effect.
That doesn't make sense.
I'll try another. There!
We've got incoming! How do they keep matching our shield frequency?
They couldn't. Unless... They've compromised our shield algorithms. They can bypass our shields at will.
What?
Ah! Captain!
He's out cold.
Why'd they stop?
Damage report.
Running on emergency power. Major hull damage on decks 4 through 7. Warp core is stable and intact.
We're completely vulnerable.
Commander, we're being held by the Veskar. It's Galvin.
On screen.
Commander Rydak, where's your captain? Not dead, I hope. At least, not yet.
Sorry to disappoint you, but he's alive and well.
Good. I wouldn't want him to miss out on any of this. I have to give you credit, Commander. You survived longer than I thought you would. But make no mistake, your shields are useless, your weapons ineffective, and there's nothing you can do. I could destroy you at any moment. But I'd rather hear your pleas for mercy first.
You really are a demon from Warcraft, aren't you?
Your existence is entirely in my hands, and I'm not in a forgiving mood.
If you want to destroy us, then I invite you to do your worst. We'd rather die with honor than beg for your mercy.
You may just get your wish. I've been thinking about what you said, Commander. That the Federation would stop me no matter what.
But unfortunately for you, I'm a threat of the weak, and nothing can defeat a threat of the weak.
Your performance in this encounter has not supported that claim.
The Veskar's weapons are powering up.
So, warp? Seriously, what are you doing? Why are you standing here watching? What are you doing?
But the Takan are not mere savages. So I've decided to let you live, despite your insolence. Tell your Federation the Takan are as merciful as they are powerful. That you were fortunate to escape with your lives. But next time, you may not be so lucky. If you're even brave enough to face me again.
We appreciate your mercy.
And you rely on it.
That makes sense. He strikes me as the kind of person who would have a tiny dick.
I've lost their signal.
I'm not a big fan of that scene, to be quite honest with you. But I do like Blade Travell's idea. Oh, he does now, Colgrim. What if he assumes that we're the pinnacle of Federation tech and resources? And I suppose... I don't know what's going on with the offshore church account, and I'm not going to do anything with it right now. I suppose, like... How do I explain this? Imagine that you find a TIE fighter. And they're like, the Empire is super powerful. And then the TIE fighter comes to fight you, and you swat it. And you're like, that was pathetic. The Galactic Empire's got nothing, right? Then a Star Destroyer shows up. It's just, I'm giving the episode too much credit, but it would be funny, wouldn't it, if that was the direction they were going with here? It's like, ha 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 ha, you have the your most powerful ship of the line. A Centaur-class warship is nothing against me. And yeah, I remember that mortal. He actually talked about this is your greatest ship ever, right? Remember when we were still in the negotiations phase? And we didn't. We actually specifically said, yeah, no, it's a very good ship. Yeah, the Centaur is There's the Oberth, which is worse than a centaur. I'd have to think about it to go past that. But anyways, yeah, we're in a dinky science vessel. Imagine a Sovereign shows up. Hi! Bam! Or a Titan. Eh.
Can you track their warp signature?
Nothing. It's untraceable, just like before.
Notify Ambassador Spock. I want everyone in the briefing room to discuss our options.
What's the status of the repairs?
Hull breach should be patched up in a matter of hours. Impulse power is at 67%. Should be fully restored soon.
Still no luck tracking Galvin's warp signature. They've all but disappeared.
And yeah, that's... Sorry, but you can tell that someone somewhere either noticed the earlier problem or was aware of the earlier problem and said it correctly. We can't track their warp signature, which makes perfect sense. Again, obfuscating them while they're at warp.
Keep trying. Finding that son of a bitch is the best shot we've got.
Hey, you only get one of those.
Commander Rydick, you had the con after the ship was attacked. What is your assessment, given our current situation and the losses we have suffered?
I'd rather not fight this alone. We need to call for reinforcements.
In that case, we might have an option. Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. If anyone could find Galvin, it would be him.
Not the direction I was thinking.
That's assuming he's willing to help us.
True, but there's only one way to find out.
Wouldn't we need to secure authorization from the Federation Council to contact him?
The nearest Federation outpost is Andoria. I can travel there by shuttle and inform them personally of the threat from the Takan.
Aren't we in the middle of nowhere? Like, aren't we one of the furthest outposts on unknown space? Isn't that something they established? Remind me, because I swear they established that earlier on. And you're probably thinking, why does that matter, Lore? Andoria is practically next door to Earth. Even in canon, like Tellar, Vulcan, Andoria, and Earth are like right next to each other, interstellarly speaking. So, if Andoria is the closest outpost, where are we exactly? Yeah, that's deep core. Maybe they meant like an Andorian outpost? And they just didn't feel like coming up with a name for it? That might make more sense.
Meanwhile, the Resolute can travel to the Delphi Ardu system in search of Portal 6-3.
I still have my doubts.
I do not. Captain William T. Riker has first-hand experience with the area and with Portal 6-3. His guidance will prove invaluable and should alleviate your concerns.
Delphi Ardu 4 is a restricted zone for good reason. For all we know, we could be walking into a trap. Not to mention the high likelihood Portal 6-3's allegiance will be with the Takan. It's just too much of a risk.
Gee, who do I side with? Spock or Captain Deskface? Well, on the one hand, Captain Deskface has personally threatened me twice, but on the other hand, I've seen Spock's brain.
A waste of time. Time we can't afford to lose.
According to Commander Riker's records of meeting Portal 6-3, he was willing to listen to reason. We may be able to convince him that Galvin is wrong.
Or he'll just be happy to learn his civilization is making a comeback. In which case, we only compound the problem.
I am inclined to agree with Commander Rydick. Her logic is sound. This portal may have knowledge that proves to be invaluable, including information on the nature of the Cartabula. We must act on the facts at hand.
Then we'll give it our best.
I'll arrange a meeting with Captain Riker.
And I will speak with the Council. They need to understand the magnitude of the situation. I can leave for Andoria immediately.
Nope, he's going to Andoria.
Finding Portal 6-3. The very future of the Federation may rest in your hands.
It takes a minimum of 8 crew on the bridge to run the ship, so we can expect at least that many hostiles.
If they bioformed Hadri, They know we're coming.
Which means everyone needs to be ready for... Take cover!
Why are we so stupid?
Now what? We need that door sealed.
We can handle that. Where do you need us?
There's an access panel there. You should be able to patch into the local systems.
We'll be shot getting there.
I'll cover you. On my signal. Now.
You know, another really common thing in Telltale games is they start out strong and then kind of start to peter out towards the end. That happened with Minecraft Telltale, that happened with the Batman Telltale, that happened with the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale. I've noticed that the writing has taken a noticeable dip in the last few episodes.
Looking for the bridge doors. Wait, what's this?
Got something?
Gravity. If I invert the artificial gravity inside the
Do
bridge,
it, don't say it.
anyone on the bridge right up into the ceiling.
He'll never see it coming.
Please.
Itasca, get
Please.
ready to
Charge?
reversing gravity polarity. Now!
I actually agree with that, Ross. Okay, they're dead, right? Like, their spines are gone.
Amazing.
Close in!
How do we get them down?
Okay, now their spines are gone. We have stuns. Why aren't we stunning them? Leave them unconscious.
What are we gonna do with them?
We don't have time to take prisoners.
So you're just gonna shoot him?
I haven't decided yet.
That's not just up to you.
I'm the ranking officer.
And we're not in your army.
We have a stun setting. Now, I know what you're going to say. Maybe it doesn't work, but at least we should try it first, right? And then if they get back up, okay, we know the stun setting doesn't work. And we can also jettison them, you know. We're in warp. Have you ever experienced deceleration from warp speed as an individual person? Because, don't worry, your brain can't process the signals from your nerves fast enough to understand what's happening to you. Ahem. So here's a problem. I've said many times, and I mean it many times, that you don't kill prisoners. There's a lot of good reasons why you don't kill prisoners. But in fiction, there's some asterisks to that. Like, say, demons, or Borg, or Tkon infiltrators, or, you know, there's exceptions. Fiction has the concept of the always acceptable target. So, yeah, chest bursters, right? Like, infected, yeah, zombies, or about to be zombies. It's a little bit different when it comes to fiction. The rules are different. However, we don't know how reversible bioforming is yet. Which once again brings me back to, can we just stun these poor people? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Question marks here.
These prisoners could be useful to us.
Yeah, one feels like a compromise.
We'll never know.
I can live with that.
Well, I can't.
You're an engineer, not a soldier. This is clearly my territory.
You think you have enemy combatants here? This is a hostage situation. Each one of them has an innocent life inside.
We think.
I'll keep watch on them.
As will I. We can't let our guard down around the enemy.
Petty Officer Diaz and I will figure out how to stop the ship.
Let's hurry. The rest of the Tkon could show up any minute. Crystals. They're all over this place.
It's like a Final Fantasy game. Oh no.
Where's the captain?
Captain Ostego did not survive the atmosphere poisoning.
Yeah, sorry, that's my bad. We took like 50 minutes. When you had 23 minutes.
That's how he'd want it.
Look here. It's navigational data.
We saw that already. Headed to the edge of the galaxy.
It's only a display. We couldn't use it to change course or alter speed.
This console looks unaffected.
Orange, Ross, as of this moment. I will admit, my opinion is fluctuating up and down a little bit as we go. Started off higher. That intro is still the best sequence in the entire game, I would say. The initial disaster with the energy wave.
There are two interfaces on top of each other.
This is not Lydian programming.
Yeah.
Everything under control?
Yes. These Takan haven't made a move. Yet.
And what you're doing is working.
There's plenty more I can do. But it doesn't have to be that way. As long as they behave.
Yeah, I almost feel like I really regret the fact that... How do I put this into words? I really regret the fact that the Takan are in this game.
Huh.
Careful where you point that thing.
It's not active. I can't see any way this would work as a weapon. It's dead.
Out of ammo?
I'm not sure.
Well, not just that, Blade Tavol. I was actually pretty engaged with the plot and the characters and the low-tier stakes and, you know, the lower deck story, as we talked about. Now, it probably helps that, as I mentioned earlier, just the general quality of the writing, dialogue, and story construction was a lot better earlier on. But the Takan are like... For those of you who've never heard me talk about it, let me explain to you that I just got someone who wants to offer me a job. So I'm going to give them my credit card information, my social security number, date of birth, mother's maiden name. There we go. Deleted and reported. Not a credit thing. No. It was nice to... The Takan are mustache-twirlingly evil. I make the reference to Warcraft demons on purpose. For those of you not aware, Warcraft demons are consistently stupid. There's no nice way to say that. They really did, like, there's this rule, and it's not even a joke, where if you confront a demon who's impersonating someone and say, "You're a demon," they have to immediately reveal themselves and be like, "My machinations lay undetected for years." I'll show this off during the Warcraft run. It's a consistent thing. And granted, demons are not known for their intellect. It's why they have to have a massive supercomputer to make the Legion a threat. Because otherwise the demons are just a roaming horde of chaos, right? They're all infused with fel. But I'm getting off topic. Threat of the week. The threat of the week isn't just the bad guy you're fighting this week. There's a very specific nature of how that trope works. And this, of all of this, of Trek, TNG was actually the worst about this, in my opinion, although TOS is pretty high up there as well. The threat of the week is, here's some random ship or faction or whatever you've never heard of before and will never be referenced again. They show up out of absolutely nowhere, and they're just better than you. That's the threat of the week. It dips very closely into Mary Sue territory. Now, we know why they did this. It's because they wanted to challenge the heroes, and they were bad writers. And I'm going to say that as bluntly as I can, because there is a level of quality to writing and how you can actually challenge people, even when they have the amazing technology and tremendous power of a Galaxy-class heavy cruiser. Now, as always, that's a gradient. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. it's a whole thing. If you remember, the Borg originally were a threat of the week. The only thing that really changed that was A, it was a good episode to begin with, and they actually did a decent job with it. But B, and more importantly, they had staying power. And I'm getting off topic. Point is, I've grown immensely weary of the threat of the week plot thread, where the main characters are just completely helpless before them, which usually involves having to technobabble around the threat of the week. Now, my favorite threat of the week? The Voth. They still are a threat of the week. There's still some dings to that episode. But the Voth are probably one of the more well-fleshed out threats of the week, and they earn it more than most of them do. Because there's dozens of other examples, usually in early TNG, like TNG Season 1, 2, and 3, where they just meet some rando ship that, and they're like, and we will destroy you horribly. Oh my god, they're such a threat. Transfigurations had a threat of the week, for God's sakes. To use just one random example, and I gave that a lamentation status. It's the Ferengi. You get the idea, right? It's just... Now, the Takan being a threat of the week isn't as bad as it could be. Again, this is a gradient. But the thing that's bothering me about the Takan is twofold. First of all, the stakes got higher to the point where I got de-invested in the story. And second of all, the Takan have been portrayed as a threat of the week pretty much ever since they've gone loud. They're just better than us. I know what you're saying, but they're the Takan. You can only stretch they're more advanced than us thing so far before it just becomes Doctor Who. And on the off chance I have to explain that, there's actually a specific trope in Doctor Who which is called guns are useless. And it's when guns are useless. Now, sometimes that makes sense, but most of the time it doesn't. There's some monster of the week, and they're just like some big animal-looking thing or whatever, and guns are useless against them. Why? Because they're a horror movie monster at that point. And now you start to see the full chain of logic that leads us to the threat of the week just being better than everyone else, right? Just being so much more powerful that nothing you can do about them scratches their paint. And they can effortlessly crush you like a bug. Because the reason, Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers is a threat is because they have the plot on their side. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit off on the rails here. But I just want to explain why the Takan have actually been de-investing me in the story. The idea of having to deal with this random storm, which has created a unique political environment and an economic advantage for an otherwise oppressed power, which we don't have any actual authority or control over because neither of these people are Federation members, and having to try and figure out a way to actually make the situation work while working through both sides, while trying to deal with the fact that, they over there are willing to bring fire and force, and we're trying to avoid a war, but we don't have real authority, and it's on them to actually enforce it, so we need to hammer out a real negotiation rather than just putting out a piece of paper and saying, done. And all the time trying to ensure that our interests in the area are settled because we want some of that lithium too. All of that sounds engaging and interesting to me, and the kind of thing that can flesh out a full game, especially a game of this style. Because at that point, it's all about the negotiations, right? Which is talking to people, getting their perspective, getting them on your side, which a Telltale choose-your-own-adventure kind of story thing absolutely fits. Instead, we're fighting the Takan. See the difference? I'm not inherently against it, but you can see why my investment in the story has dimmed a little bit.
Any trouble?
Don't worry about me. Worry about Stretch over there.
Why?
He's looking for any excuse to vaporize the prisoners. But I'll make sure he doesn't. Even if they're the enemy, it's not right.
I'm here if you need a hand.
Just hurry up and figure out this bridge. That's the best way to help.
I do not know, Crazy Norse. I don't know as much about this game behind the scenes as I'd like, and I've actually gone looking a little bit, trying to avoid spoilers, obviously. I would agree with that, Ross. But I haven't found as much as I'd like. And yeah, to finish my thoughts here really briefly, because Ross just put that a good way. At the beginning of the game, the plot was engaging me, and now it's the characters. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you could see why it would be nice if I had both, right?
Gotta figure this out before we get... wherever we're going. If the Resolute can't catch up to us, we're in a whole different kind of trouble.
Because, like, Trek has always been best when it's character-centric, so no complaints there. But we've had good Trek episodes that have managed to have good plots, too. Nothing? Seriously? Okay. Yeah, exactly, Ross. The plot's just kind of paint by numbers, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, we've seen some bad threats of the week over the years. Nemesis.
This main drive manifold is spiking way over nominal levels.
Very dangerous.
Even at 100% output, the warp cores wouldn't push this much plasma to the drive section.
That much reactor output would drive us past the theoretical top speed of this ship. So how fast are we actually going?
I'm pretending I'm on caretaker now.
These crystals are Takan technology. They seem to be active, just like the rest of their tech. Tetrametric pulses.
Tetrametric?
It's the energy signature of Takan technology. Everything they make gives off this type of radiation.
They're blocking the inputs. It's not responding at all. Everything I try, it just ignores me.
Well, if we're careful, maybe we can blast the crystals off with our phasers.
All right. Just use caution.
It's funny, because I thought that was a terrible idea.
Not a scratch.
There are other consoles to try.
But to continue my overall point, you notice how it was completely immune to phasers? Now, I know we're probably using a low yield because we don't want to damage the console, but the fact that it has absolutely no effect on the crystals is... bullets are useless, right? Just making my point there, sorry. Ignore me. I'm not here.
It's the Takan language.
From what I can tell, the ship's systems are actively responding to input.
Which is the opposite of how most bridges work. They usually send commands, not receive them.
It's from an intrusive program. This control station won't do us any good either. What have they done to this bridge?
Consoles running themselves, some clogged up with crystals that are sending off tetrametric pulses.
But none of this is sending signals outward. It's receiving.
They're flying the ship from somewhere else.
That should be impossible. But it explains why there's less than a full bridge crew. If they aren't flying the ship from the bridge, where are they controlling it from?
If I had to put the theme of Star Trek down to a single word, I would say positivity. One of the major points of Star Trek is, and always has been, that things can get better. Yeah, optimism, exactly. Something I've talked about a lot is that the overwhelming majority of fiction is actually pessimistic, not optimistic. Automatic presumptions of negativity or things getting worse or having to endure in the face of hardships, as opposed to things actually, improving over time. Star Trek's overall point has always been the fact that things can and then do improve over time. That's true, obviously, from the perspective of real life, but also within the setting itself.
We're gonna be there in less than an hour.
We can't let that happen.
Hold on, it would take days to go this distance with our fastest ship. We're traveling at a warp factor many times greater than this ship should even be capable of. Even with the engines pushed as hard as they are, they wouldn't produce this speed.
Whether it's these crystals, or the power from the Cartabula, the Takan have found a way to increase the engine output and top speed. We have to find a way to hit the brakes before we outrun anyone who could help us.
We stop it, so they can't get this ship where they're going, and enact the next phase of their plan. That is, if they don't destroy us all first. I would have thought this ship would disintegrate going this speed. Somehow, that hasn't happened yet.
So what is their endgame? They've transformed individuals, they've transformed this ship, in a way. How far will they go?
As far as we let them. Their technology certainly doesn't seem to have limits.
Yeah.
I hate to think what the Cartabula could do if it was plugged into something it was meant to power.
Fresh reminder, the Takan were wiped out by a supernova.
Got some answers.
One supernova.
Like what they tell us, though.
If we can learn nothing else, then what's left is to make these Takan talk. And if they don't, we'll dispose of them.
Hey, that's not how we do this.
That is enough from you.
Thanks, lady. God damn, do you just make everything worse?
I thought that thing was useless.
It was! No power! Until he touched it. The weapons must be biocoded.
Our technology will only work for one of our kind.
I can assure you, this weapon works just fine for me.
Slow down, Arminta.
You can't control the ship with a disruptor.
But I can use it to control you.
This is what pain is. He got knocked out last time we talked to him, so okay.
Let's talk.
Meanwhile... Whoops, sorry.
The Titan's communications officer says Captain Riker will be ready in just a moment. You need to see this. The report on the data breach.
Damn. It's worse than I'd hoped. They didn't just compromise our shields. They stole the shield algorithms for all of Starfleet as well.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. It literally doesn't work that way. Please don't make me make my case. And just trust me when I say, that's nonsense.
Meaning every ship is potentially vulnerable to attack.
This is what a threat of the week is. That right here. Exhibit A, right? That's a threat of the week. Oh, no. We've scanned this one ship, and now we have access to bypass the shields of every ship in the fleet. No. That's not even close to how that works. On so many levels. Okay, I'm okay.
Making this so much worse than it already was.
Given the potential consequences, we should notify Starfleet as soon as possible.
I don't disagree, but I'll reach out to Ambassador Spock about it. I don't want to cause a panic.
Lose my desk.
He does either.
I have Captain Riker for you.
Let's not mention any of this shield business to Riker just yet. Put him through. Captain Riker, this is my first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
My pleasure.
It is Jonathan Frakes. For those of you not aware, the number of Star Trek shows that don't have Jonathan Frakes in them is really small. It's not a large list. I'm pretty sure percentage-wise, there are more Star Trek shows with Frakes in them than not. I'd have to actually sit down and figure that out, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. So I guess we can add this one to the list.
Sir.
I wish we were all meeting under better circumstances.
So do I, although you and I have actually met before.
We have?
I was a young lieutenant on the Potemkin. You were first officer on the Tuckerman. I piloted you and our science officer in a shuttle to survey quantum resonance in the planetary rings of Residius 6.
Oh, yes. Now I remember.
You know, he gave me some good advice that day about a very difficult job. Yours.
Well, I'm not one to turn down some words of wisdom, sir.
And let me ask, as first officer on a starship, where does your responsibility lie, first and foremost? To the captain, the crew, or the ship itself?
Oh, this old chestnut. I am curious to hear what she says, though.
Ultimately, my responsibility is to the crew at large.
The needs of the many. You have been hanging around Ambassador Spock. But the truth is, it's a trick question.
Yeah.
Every situation is different, and there are no easy answers. And in some cases, it might not be any of those three. It could be the Prime Directive.
Spoilers. It's never the Prime Directive.
Or the mission.
Yes, so perhaps we should get to the matter at hand. When you were with the Enterprise, you encountered a Takan entity known as Portal 6-3.
You did have a beard back then.
Held captive in orbit until you were able to convince him to let the ship go.
All of which is detailed in the mission report.
What we want from you is what we can't get from the report. What can we use to get Portal 6-3 to help us?
I've often thought about that over the years. How a small difference in the encounter could have led to disaster. The most important thing is, don't let him push you around. He can appear as a man or as a godlike projection. He'll test you, but don't be overwhelmed by the pageantry and theatrics.
I'll stand up to him. You can trust in that.
Good, but that's just the first step. Portal is full of bluster and bravado, but he can be reasoned with. And that's my other piece of advice. You want to appeal to him rationally. You don't want him thinking you're acting out of fear.
But we are afraid of the Takan, and with good reason.
He's not the sort to suffer fools. And he'll lose interest if he feels his time is being wasted.
I suppose that's one thing we have in common.
Do you think he knows that the Takan have returned?
He didn't even know they were gone when we went there. But the moment the Enterprise dropped into orbit around Delphi Ardu 4, he downloaded the entirety of the ship's computer. So I'd expect the same when you get there.
What if he won't cooperate and we have to face these Takan ourselves?
Then we have a much bigger problem on our hands.
What I mean is, in the 16 years since you discovered this outpost, there has to have been research. Battle plans for what to do about the Takan if we encountered more of them.
Dude, we fought and won a major interstellar war. We have moved forward so far that we have a gun. A literal gun that shoots bullets that can then be transported to their target through bulkheads. And also can then target through bulkheads. I think we've advanced a little bit since TNG Season 1.
I need to know what they are.
Hell, we actually have functional holodecks now. In fact, we have sentient holograms now.
If I had that answer, it would have been the first thing I told you.
We both know Command has had their share of hidden plans in the past. Like Admiral Hansen and Captain Shelby's Special Projects Division at Starfleet Tactical, devising new ways to take on the board.
Trust me, this isn't some Starfleet conspiracy to keep you in the dark. But if you two don't think you're equipped to make contact, you need to tell me now. Because there is no silver bullet here. Now's not the time to hesitate. I need to know you're up to this.
You're not the only one who's met the Takan anymore. We've faced them in combat. We're not just the right ones for the job. We're the only ones.
All right. Asked and answered. There was a special task force that considered the Takan, and I was part of it. But because there were no other signs of the Empire, we determined the best course of action was to create a restricted zone around the Delphi Ardu system. I have my concerns, but I'll clear the way with the brass for your travel into the restricted space. Just remember what I've told you. And it wouldn't hurt to read some Sun Tzu en route.
Yeah.
Or Marcus Aurelius.
Anything else?
Machiavelli?
Thank you for your support, Captain Riker.
I wish I could be there myself. But my first officer would probably see to it that I stay on the bridge while they get all the excitement on the away mission. The burdens of command. Rest assured, the Federation is taking this threat very seriously. You won't be alone out there for too long.
Thank you, Captain Riker.
One more thing. Ambassador Spock said that Takan stole some data from your central computer. What's that all about?
We're still assessing the extent of the breach. Nothing to report as of right now.
That's it? Ambassador Spock suggested it was something more serious, which is why I'm asking.
I mean, of course I'm going to tell Riker this.
One thing we know is that they stole Starfleet shield algorithms.
The shield algorithms? That could jeopardize every ship in the fleet.
We're still making sure our assessment is accurate. We don't want to raise alarms unnecessarily.
This is as real as it gets, Solano. I have to talk to Starfleet Command now, so I think this conversation has come to an end. I really do hope you get Portal 6-3 and find those Takan before this gets out of control. Riker out.
I specifically said I wanted to keep this under wraps. I thought we had an understanding. Now all of Starfleet will hear about this.
I'm sorry, Captain, but I didn't feel comfortable lying to a superior officer.
I have no problem telling Starfleet. I just didn't want Riker holding this over me. Now I have to think about the damage control of it all. You're dismissed.
Desk. My desk. God, this dude. This dude.
It's the automated Federation warning buoy. Transmitting the disable code Captain Riker provided.
That was unpleasant. Commander Ermont, what are the conditions of our systems?
All internal systems operational.
Commander Westbrook, what are your scans of the planet?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
No sign of this outrageously powerful Takan being?
I'm running a magneton scan now, but so far, nothing.
Where are you?
Found 3 McKellans down there.
We don't know if Portal 6-3 will cooperate. He's not an asset. He's an enemy.
That's why we're sending 3 bridge officers and the CMO down there. I'm sorry, I didn't even see the questions. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Not for the timid. Dude. I mean, yeah, Crazy Norse. Like, I hate to point out the extraordinarily obvious, but a rule doesn't mean anything if you can't enforce it, right? So, how does the Federation enforce their quarantine here? Are those buoys super, like, drones that just shoot everything nearby? Does it set off an alarm so the Federation shows up to deal with it? A singular thing for the Star Wars trilogy. Sorry. The original Star Wars trilogy. War! No, they make a really annoying... They're specifically designed to play sounds that are really irritating to Ferengi ears. Yeah, no, I would actually say pushing up against oppression would be the specific thing. Andor certainly solidified that. But, same concept, right? A New Hope itself is aptly named, honestly spoken. And Empire and Return both kind of follow through on that pretty solidly.
Prove you're worth keeping alive for a little while longer.
I cannot stop this ship any more than you could stop the tides.
Hold up. We're the Federation. We can stop the ties. So...
Not good enough.
The impotent threats of a lower life form do not sway me. I will not bend to you. I was born 600,000 years ago. But a new age dawns today.
Blah, blah, blah. Demon, yada, yada. So, there we go. Just making sure it's still a thing. I was curious.
Are you the scion of the flame?
My name is Zan Utlosa. I was born in the final days of the Age of Makto. And we are all scions of the flame. Every one of us who have traveled across the Bridge of Time to be here for the Great Awakening. We have all sworn ourselves to the cause.
Eventually, one of you will break.
You don't understand how overmatched you truly are.
We are the threats of the weak. Until you find the silver bullet solution, there is nothing you could do against us.
This craft was nothing before we imbued it with the speed required by our mission. And the Cartabula produces enough energy to drive an entire fleet of ships like this one. But when we wake the Aphelion, we won't need a fleet.
The Aphelion?
Only then will you understand the might of the Takan Empire. Reborn in this time. This is just a drop in an ocean of power you cannot even imagine.
I'm sorry, I'm just suddenly amused by the concept. Hear me out for a second. Hear me out. Imagine for a moment that there's a threat of the week. Oh my god, we can't stand against them. What do? I've got an idea. We're going to stay ahead of them and avoid them for a week. And then a week passes. And then they're like, oh. And like, just depowering noise. We did it! Yeah! And yeah, that would just be a Lower Decks episode at that point, wouldn't it? We did it! It's the next week. Whew! Okay. Going home, everyone. Going home. Take 5. And then, like, yeah, you know, and then the next threat of the week shows up. It's like, ah, ha, ha, we're super evil. But we were already here first. And then another week passes, and a third threat of the week shows up, and they all just start fighting each other. Oh, God, that would be the worst. Like, you get to the next week, and it's like, wait, they haven't been depowered. It's a 2-parter! No! Someone falls to their knees, scares up the sky, and the camera pulls over and says, hey, God! For absolutely no reason. It does, Ross. You're absolutely right. Part 1 was the trade dispute and the intrigue and the build-up. Even the hook was interesting. Trek does that a lot, where the hook is more interesting than the payoff. And of course, for those of you not aware, almost every 2-parter in Trek, the part 1 is better. That's not always true, but it's true a lot.
You're just stalling and we don't have time for this. Is this Aphelion worth your life?
Come on! This goes from bad to worse unless you do what they say.
Did she really?
You can't stop the ship.
Then he will. Or we cut off his hands and use them ourselves.
The moment I reduce speed or change our heading, the others will know. First, they'll just resume course from elsewhere. Trivial matter. And then, they will come here. For you, this is a dead end.
I don't know if he's telling the truth, but I don't like it. We need a new plan.
He's just trying to talk his way out of trouble. Why would you tell us all this?
I tell you because I value my own life. When my fellow Scions come, and they will come, I expect you'll all act like the savages you are, and a battle will ensue. You've all died once. I don't intend to do so again.
That's why I murdered someone and stole their body, because I'm not a savage. I'm British.
I won't touch those controls. If you want to get us killed, do it yourselves.
You fear death. There's a way to stop this ship for good, and he knows how. He just needs more pressure.
What kind of pressure?
We heard him. He'll talk. Trust me.
That's against Starfleet protocol.
You're not on a Starfleet ship. Your protocol does not apply. We take the action that will lead to our victory. Don't...
This is where that acceptable targets thing comes in, by the way. Because, yeah, I was going to say, like, this is just, whatever.
Assume your moral code takes precedence above all others.
I get the impression you know how to make people talk. Think you can break his arm?
No, don't!
This is going to hurt.
What the hell, Carter? We don't torture people. Did you forget what uniform you're wearing? What it stands for?
He'll live. Isn't that what you want?
Don't you twist my words like that.
I have only just begun.
Stop, please! Wait! The warp cores. Our technology is amplifying the ship's output, and it still relies on the warp cores to provide plasma to the engines. Disable those, and the ship grinds to a halt.
Sabotage.
I'm sorry, I just had a thought, and it's telling. You ever heard of the phrase, Simpsons did it? The reason for that phrase is Simpsons has just been around for so long that they've kind of done all the plots. Where am I going with this? Well, I had a random idea of how I would restructure this a little bit to, in my opinion, improve it. And as I was thinking about how to put those pieces together, I realized that Star Trek The Original Series already did exactly that. See, there's an episode of TOS. There's actually two, which have a very, very similar plot, where super mega advanced aliens take over members of the crew, and the way that they overcome them is because those super advanced aliens aren't used to the sensory input, so they overload them in terms of sensory input, and then and that's more or less exactly what I was thinking. Hear me out for a second, though. Because, like, these Takan are in new bodies which don't really process signals the way that they used to, and they're still being bioformed, and blah, 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 blah. And so, for example, pain is something they barely can process. They don't have, like, real-life people, this is a true thing, real-life people have built-in tolerances for levels of pain. Everyone has a different gradient, but the point is, we all can kind of deal with that to some level or another. I love the idea that in this case, we don't have to break the guy's arm. That's true, Ross. We don't have to break the guy's arm. We can literally just punch him. Like a light punch to the arm. And he is so unused to the input of pain that one tap is like crippling. And he's just like, ah! And I'm sorry, but I would find this hilarious if he's this, I am superior, and you inferior species cannot possibly deal with me. We will show you the might of the Takan. And what are you doing? Oh God, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to make it stop. I would unironically love that, even though that sounds a bit like Lower Decks. I would still love that. And we tickle them. No! No! What are you doing? This torture! This torture! Ah! And they just buckle immediately, right? In my defense, it makes sense, too. It's not just funny.
This displays for all life forms on the ship. This is where the infiltrators are, the central artery of ship systems, sensors, propulsion, weapons. And this is engineering.
It's deserted.
If I can get us there, can you cripple my ship? Not something I'd normally ask, but I'm coming around to it.
Well, usually I'm the guy fixing the things that go wrong on a starship. I'm sure I can figure out a way to break it.
You may even find you like destroying things.
Yes! Torture!
It strands us. Left out of the fight when there's a war going on.
Our fight is here, now. This is how we do the most good. For the Empire.
For the Empire.
So, Carter, you didn't beam out after all. I thought you'd escaped when we boarded. I'd almost hoped you'd made it off. And Nilly's there with you too, right? It's good you two are together. I know you're here, Carter. Your technology is so simple to us. You're not a fighter. I know it. You know it. That's why you're hiding. Somewhere on this ship. But the Takan Empire has so much to offer you. Think of all the knowledge lost for 500,000 years that you'd have access to. I know you want more from life, and I want to show you what you could be a part of. Not just the wonders you've already seen from us. In our time, we had the power to move stars.
And yet you died to a supernova. Sorry. In fairness, it did take multiple godlike aliens to kill them, but whatever.
Carter, you have a thirst for discovery. And a part of you would remain to experience the things I can show you. But if you try to fight it...
You have Miranda's voice, but you're not her. And you don't know me.
Of course I do. I remember... well... I remember everything. I remember us. So I'll just explain the reality of what you're up against. Every one of us on this crusade has fought wars more brutal and consuming than you could fathom. But I want to reach a peaceful resolution to this. Carter, we have a plan for you.
We want you to be a flesh puppet!
And for the others too. We don't want to have to destroy you.
You think there's some sort of compromise to be had here? After all you've done? The only end of this is when you surrender.
After all we've done? You can't think we'd give up now. We can continue this conversation in person. I'll see you on the bridge very soon.
Our comm badges. She's tracking our location with them.
If we...
Yeah. Comm badges are trackers by design. That's a true statement.
We have to use force to free our fellow Scions. There will be casualties.
We can't stay here. And we need to disable the transmitters.
Where'd you go? You don't want to talk to me?
She's trying to keep you talking.
I mean, I get it. But I'm trying to help you.
We lost rep with Miranda? Wow. Wow, that's extremely easy to do. With your bare hands.
Got it.
Mine's done too.
Time to hit the road.
The Kambadaji.
You've forgotten something. They know where we're going.
Set to stun. You're not going to shoot.
Oh my god! They realized they have a stun setting! Holy crap! They even work! I am in shock! Where was this writing like 20 minutes ago? And it was her, of all people! I am so confused by this game. What? We need to kill them. No, we need to torture them. I've got a stun setting. Guys, this is so Trek. It's so Trek. Oh my god. Ah. What am I gonna do with this game? These people have definitely watched Star Trek.
The guy who's unconscious, are you?
You keep getting in my way.
You already broke his arm. What more do you want to do?
I want to eliminate loose ends.
And I did that for you.
You know what? You can argue on the way. Now let's move it.
Considering cutscenes aren't skippable, I'm going to say 8 hours.
Our coordinates match the exact location where Riker met Portal 6-3.
Unlike Riker's team, we beamed down without a problem.
It's quiet.
Portal has to know we're here.
If he won't come to us, we'll go to him. Spread out. Doctor?
Commander, keeping an eye on those Duridium levels? Good. Last thing we need are your cells destabilizing on a hostile alien planet.
No, torture always works, prisoners. What are you talking about? We've known that for decades.
These crystals are dormant.
Riker's report said they were glowing, that they served as energy collectors. It could be a good sign they're inactive. The Guardian of the Takan doesn't have his guard up.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tara. I'd kill myself.
This is where Portal 6-3 projected his image.
He was guarding this bridge. That has to mean something.
We'll move forward when you're ready, Commander.
Yeah, the CSO is one of the characters I like. Which I guess isn't saying a lot, because I like a lot of the characters. Well, I've never played it, Tara, so I can't give a fair estimate. But I find it and all such competitive gameplay extraordinarily boring. And that's the harsh truth. I've played a lot of competitive games over the years, going back to the 90s. There's nothing there. There's no content. I'm spinning my wheels. Nothing's happening. I'm not engaged gameplay-wise or story-wise. You know. Oh, this game? It's right here. So, let's talk about torture for a second. I don't even see a question from you, Von Falkenstein. Literally, I'm staring at the chat log. I don't see a question from you. Last thing I see from you is you talking about the CSO, which I agreed with. Come on, through it. Work with me. Nope. Hang on. Oh, right. I answered you in my head. The chance of Board Game RPG Thursdays returning is approximately 0% right now. Sorry. I just don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to work on the rewrites, which takes precedence over that kind of thing. I certainly don't have time to essentially take a night off. So, let's talk about torture. I'm actually being serious. The reason fiction has such an obsession with torture is it's a cheap and easy dilemma. If we presume that torture works, then now the question is not, does it work? The question is, do we do it or not? And it could serve as a dilemma for the main characters. Because the main characters are probably positively inclined. They're probably more heroic or good or whatever, right? For example, right now I'm choking to death. Live on camera. So, this is brilliant timing. Here's the deal. What they want is they want the trolley dilemma. Now, for those of you who don't understand, the idea here is the trolley dilemma is stupid. And anybody who knows anything about the trolley dilemma knows it's stupid. The trolley dilemma is there in order to force you to think, oh my God, which one of these people is more important? Which do I pick? How do I decide my morality? And not actually think. They don't want you to think because thinking is not the point of that exercise. It's like ground floor, grade school level philosophy, right? It is there specifically to get you interested in the ideas of what philosophy can be, not as a true dilemma in and of itself. Writers who are trying to shortcut dilemmas into fiction will tend to use the trolley solution, God damn it, will use the trolley dilemma as a way to try and be like, oh my God, do I torture this man even knowing it's wrong? Because they automatically presume that the torture is correct and will work. And you'll notice it usually is in fiction. Generally speaking, you're like, stab, and they're like, no. Right? I'll tell you everything, please. How many works of fiction? Because they don't just do it in that direction too. They always presume it's going to work. If there's any point in time at which the heroes are captured, what are they going to threaten them with? Torture! And that becomes the drama. Oh my God, they're going to torture me. And I'm going to give in. I'm going to surrender. Well, then we disagree on that point a little, because it's extremely stupid. Because it's shorthand bad writing. It's there to try and get from point A to point B in the cheapest and easiest way possible. It's really frustrating how often fiction hits this particular button. Because either you're torturing someone because you want to show how evil they are, and you know you're going to break eventually. And there's going to be that moment of comfort, like, don't worry, I know there's nothing you could do. You had to tell them the codes to the such and such. we were going to give her back her old nose job if you didn't give us the codes. Torture always works in fiction. So either it's there as like a dramatic thing of, oh God, I'm going to eventually give in, or it's there as a way to provide a dilemma for the heroes, because do we do this horrible thing? Enterprise leaned into this really hard in Season 3, and this would eventually bleed over into the show 24. Right? I'm pretty sure it is a trope, Mike Romano. But forgive me. I just want to talk about this because this is why fiction just kind of universally assumes that torture works. Everybody knows it doesn't in real life. It's one of those things that is so commonly known, it's almost meaningless to even bring it up at this point. We all know torture doesn't work, at least not as a tool to gain information from someone. One of the only times I have personally seen torture used well in fiction is actually Empire Strikes Back, and Retu actually already gave that away earlier in chat. Because if you remember, and this is a slight spoiler, so forgive me, they were torturing Han Solo so that he would feel pain. That was the goal. That actually worked. That made a fairly large degree of sense. I'm pretty sure even in the books, there's actually a point where Vader was actually specifically broadcasting his pain out into, like, the galaxy as hard as he possibly can. Just to make sure. Because, yeah, that's what torture does. It inflicts pain. And there are other examples of this as well, obviously. Like the Dias. I don't want to get into the Dias cast because that's super spoilery territory, but yeah. Hang on. Let me pull up Discord here. Oh, I'm not going to watch that, but I believe you. I don't want to spoil it myself on that. So, you get the overall idea. Sorry, this is just a random aside, but it's something that's interesting because Star Trek is no... stranger. Star Trek is no stranger to this very same concept. And hi, Maiden Timeland. And I don't think you're going to stay, so bye, Maiden Timeland. Have a good one. Garrick also... I don't want to go too much down that rabbit hole. Let's just move on. Garrick is an interesting insight into this concept.
Follow me.
Several times. But then again, Garrick is an amazing character.
Here. Is it me, or did that path just disappear?
There was a path there a moment ago.
There must be an explanation.
It's all good, Maiden Timeline. Take care. Vroom, 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 vroom.
Tetrametric pulses.
Also, I love the name.
Is the other Takan technology.
Most of the crystals appear dormant. What's different about this one?
Readings indicate there's a cavity in the rock right behind it.
We could try melting a hole through the wall with our phasers.
Worth a try. Nothing.
There's gotta be a weakness. Somewhere it isn't totally solid. Whoa!
An illusion.
I'm sure that wall was as real as the rest of them. I felt it.
It's almost like our holodeck technology, but far more advanced.
Point of order, if you feel a wall in a holodeck, it feels pretty, like, real. Especially since in several cases it is, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole either.
The crystals must be absorbing the energy from our phasers.
I'm picking up something. A biosignature.
And yes, oh, sure.
It's faint, but it's there.
With me.
Okay. Yeah, the holodeck is this crude technology. No, the holodeck is magic. One of the first things I wanted to do in Our Trek was eject the holodeck completely. Everyone in the world hated that idea, so I had to come up with a compromise. But there's no way. It's magic. It's straight up magic.
Another dead end.
Or another illusion.
Crewman LaRue, if you would.
Oh no!
Devolve to Resolute. Beam crewman LaRue directly to medical.
Is he okay?
He'll live.
How would you know that? You didn't even scan him.
Not all crystals work the same, it seems.
Don't fire your phasers at any crystals unless we're sure they're putting out the same pulses as before.
Commander, I may be able to speed up the process. I can now detect many different wavelengths of radiation simply by looking. The Takan radiation is unusual, so I can't quite clear it all up, but I was able to eliminate many of the non-tetrametric crystals. Your tricorder should warn you.
That's an enormous help. Thank you, Lieutenant.
It's my honor.
Tetrametric. Good sign.
Let's shoot it.
Commander!
Look at that.
Ha! Credit to competence.
But verify.
Indeed.
No, for real. That's such a little thing, but I like that. Rather than just walking out over it, he threw out a rock first.
We don't have any data about what's below the surface on Delphi Ardu 4. and I don't feel a particularly strong urge to find out.
Then that makes two of us.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't even have to comment on that, but that is so rare that you see that basic level of, you know, caution, I think is the word I want to use.
More crystals. Need a way across.
Now that's an interesting question, Crazy Norse. Would you believe that I've thought about that exact same problem and come into an interesting conclusion? One so interesting that I'll require 5 of your Finnish dollars in order, or no, sorry, Swedish dollar. There we go. In order to answer it.
Aside from the breathable atmosphere, this is a remarkably inhospitable planet. Traces indicate there was once living flora, but it's been dead so long it's practically turned to stone.
From what Portal told Riker, it was an outpost to defend the far edge of the Takan Empire.
Well, it's not that now. Now, it's a grave.
Yeah, the CSO has been growing on me pretty much ever since right after his first scene. Like, there was his first scene, which he sucked, and he was butthurt, and then he's been great ever since.
I wonder if this place was always so lifeless.
Yeah, I know, Crazy Norse. That was the joke. Yeah, so, words. Something that most people don't think about is how there needs to be that specific brand, that flavor, visually, audibly, and in terms of storytelling concept when it comes to fiction, especially when it comes to science fiction. Star Wars is different from Cyberpunk, is different from Star Trek, is different from Battlestar Galactica, is different from Battletech. All of these things, I could show you a picture of them, and there's a high certainty that at least if you're familiar with the setting, you'll be able to identify it just on sight because of that kind of branding, right? And I know that sounds strange, but the reason I bring that up is because, logically speaking, that shouldn't be true. Logically speaking, several of these settings should have access to certain tech or resources or world-building concepts or whatever that they don't, but the reason they don't is because they're trying to stay in their lane, for lack of a better way to put that. Star Trek, for example, absolutely has access to ridiculous levels of cybertech, to the point where they would make cyberpunk look pathetic by comparison, but they don't because it's Star Trek. Does that make sense? I actually thought about this exact same issue because I was putting together several rewrite projects simultaneously, and I noticed immediately that a lot of them were blending together, and I had to make a concentrated effort to try and avoid that and try and establish more of a, you know, distinct lane branding kind of a thing to make sure each thing carries its own flavor, right? One of the things we mentioned was it would be very, very easy for Star Wars to be very similar to Mega Man. And I know that sounds like a strange comparison, but if you actually think about it for a minute, the way the bots work, the way the androbots work, you know, the robot masters in Mega Man, is extremely similar to lower functioning droids and higher functioning droids in Star Wars. And with only a few alterations, those would bleed right into each other almost immediately. So we decided to keep a separating wall there. Make sense? Same thing with Star Trek. There's a lot of things in Star Trek that probably should be a thing. And we probably shouldn't allow them to be a thing because it's just going to stop being Trek at some point. Actually, you know what? Great point, Jeff CCC. Starfield is a perfect example of why you need that kind of branding. Why you need to have your own distinct visual and world identity. Because otherwise, you have Starfield. And Zolok giving me $7.41. Which I didn't ask for, but I do appreciate very much. Yeah, like technically, yeah, the transporter is this ultra weapon of death, and they literally have all kinds of insane tech in Star Trek that they can and should use, and blah 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 blah. It's a whole thing. You'd think that Bionic Punk, but for the same reason that Fortnite, and yes, I am insulting both Starfield and Fortnite here, if you're paying attention. For the same reason that Fortnite has no real brand for doing its own thing, I don't think Starfield gets credit for essentially the same reason. Now, thank you, Zolok. Always appreciate you. Crazy Norse, Zolok has put that towards your choice. So I would like you to pick up to 3 things of your choice, please. Yeah, we're being herded. No, I'm actually kind of with you on that, Von Falkenstein. I've put some thought into that, but since the BattleTech rewrite has effectively been holstered at this point, I haven't been spending too much thought on it. That was Lord Reloaded's baby, and I haven't talked to him in over a year now. Hope he's doing all right.
Good.
I don't know yet, Crazy Norse. I'm told it's on PS4. I haven't actually verified that yet. Nice, Van Volkenstein. Lost Tech. I know what you meant, Crazy Norse. I haven't verified yet how accessible it is for me. Because I don't have a PS5, and I'm not buying a PS5 for Lunar. But I could put that into the someday when I actually have access to my PS4, I'll check pile, which is getting bigger by the day, I swear. It'll be on the Switch? Really? That's news to me as of 3 seconds ago. Let's verify that. Here we go. My PS4 is currently in a box along with most of everything else I own. No, I'm double checking, Crazy Rose. If it's on the Switch, that's an automatic at that point. It is also apparently going to be on PC. So, let's see. That'll have... Yeah, no, it will be on PC, so that's an automatic. So, yes, will be the answer then. Are you sure you want me to review Lunar 2? It's your call. I mean, I wasn't super kind to Lunar 1. The other question mark, which I don't think we actually have an answer to yet, is which version it is going to be. Because, you know, that's a problem with that series. Yeah, but like... Oh, I have no idea off your Twitch account. I haven't even been looking at it. You kidding me? My biggest goal right now is to remove the queue from existence, to finally get through it. More games being added is the least of my desires right now. Okay, it's gotta be... Oh, there it is. It's around the corner. I should have known. I can't get any closer. Game, I can't get any closer. Whatever. I actually have several ideas of what to do when the queue is caught up. Unfortunately, right now, there's a near total certainty that several other games are going to get funded before the queue is actually caught up. Like FF16.
Better go see what's different.
And the Resident Evil block, and I think there's something else. And yeah, they're all long games, too. So that sucks. The only Doom game I'm worried about is Doom 1 and Doom 2.
The way's clear. Good
And
work.
Doom 3.
We'll make sure it's safe.
If I banned people from submitting new games, bad things happen. I know this because we tried that once. That was not a good idea. And it essentially didn't work. Let's assume for a moment that you hold back a giant chunk of water from progressing, right? If you do so, then you've prevented the water from progressing, but it's just building up over there. When you finally remove that dam, all the water you had backed up is just going to push through anyways, right? I know this isn't a perfect analogy, but that is exactly what happened. Yeah, the moment we opened up, literally the day we opened up for people adding new games, a tremendous amount of games were added. Literal hundreds. And, yeah, no, it effectively just became a new queue. The other thing that happens, and Ross pointed out, is a lot of people just stopped donating, which makes sense. They wanted to, play other games. They wanted to see other games reviewed and other games run, so it is what it is, right? So I vowed, and I've kept true to this, 5 or 6 years ago, I think, was the last time we opened the floodgates. And they've stayed open ever since. I vowed back then it would be the last time that I was ever shutting the floodgates. And we have not shut them ever since. Now, we do have the concept of the dead fruit, but that's just maintenance at that point.
Incredible.
The plants here are actually alive. Is this the biosignature you detected, Doctor?
No, not a match.
Dead fruit. Have you ever actually encountered a barrel of fruit? Like in real life? At the bottom... Okay, well, picture it for a second. Picture a barrel of fruit. At the bottom of the barrel is a whole lot of squished, pulpy, and smashed fruit. That's the dead fruit at the bottom of the barrel. It's lost and forgotten, and until you get through the whole barrel, you're not even going to notice it's down there, right? And what tends to happen, in my own extremely limited experience, admittedly, is they don't empty the barrel out completely before they refill it. So the dead fruit games are the ones that just sit there at the bottom of the barrel forever. Nobody remembers them, nobody cares about them, and they just sit there rotting at the bottom of the barrel. And yeah, there's kind of an escalating process here too, but that's dead fruit games. It is semi-common that someone will donate for a game, and then no other interest will ever be put toward that. Or someone will donate for a game, and maybe like 2 other people will donate for it, and then no other interest gets put towards it. Make sense? So... Okay, apparently DZ Maven knows better than me. I'm just going for an analogy here. But you get the general idea. A little bit off the deeper end, but if I'm being honest, I actually like longer games that retain quality. StarCraft 2 is very, very, very high up on the list because it's a game that never stops being good. I mean, it has issues, but you get my point, right? Hang on, that sound effects drive me bonkers. Yeah, exactly, Lichable. So, it's not actually that I prefer shorter games, as bizarre as that sounds. It's more like I prefer games that don't waste my time. A long game that stays good? Hell yes. A short game is easier to stay good because it's short. But the length, and I've said this so many times, you can go ahead and make whatever dick joke you want to here. The length doesn't matter. The length is not the relevant feature. It is how much it retains quality across that length. Netflix just said, please resub to us. No. Thanks, though. Yeah, Witcher 3 is a game that retained quality. Starfield is not. Yeah, no kidding, Image. Does that make sense, Off the Deep End? Because, yeah, I like games that retain quality. I like games that have content, that have meat, that continue to be good. As I've pointed out several times, a lot of my favorite games towards the top of the list are all like 30, 40, 50, or 60-hour games. And yeah, exactly, Fife. The longest game I love, honestly, that probably is StarCraft 2, but that feels like a cheating answer. Then it'd be WoW, that's a cheating answer. FF7's a pretty short game. I know that sounds strange, but it's true. Yeah, no, actually, the direction I'm going to go with that, I think, is DOS 2. Divinity Original Sin 2. Which is a very good game. It has its stumbles, it has some problems, but it is a very good game, and it stays fun pretty much all the way through it, right? That is one of my favorite CRPGs for a reason. Anyway, sorry. Tangent over, I apologize. Moving on. Yeah, FF games tend to be short.
And it's creating an illusion as well.
Based on the data we have so far.
Only one thing left to do.
Doctor, be ready to beam us out if it turns out we're wrong.
Yeah, I'm worried about FF16. I'm not going to lie about that.
Lock transporter on away team.
This is it.
Amazing.
There's nothing like this in any Federation record.
The plans.
Interesting.
Barbarians.
It's him.
How dare you disturb me? I'd hoped you had enough sense to leave of your own accord, but here you stand. Fools. In another time, I would have destroyed you and your ship simply for setting foot in this place. Fortunately for you, that time has passed.
Portal 6-3, Guardian of the Takan Empire. We've come a long way to meet you.
Guardian? I am guardian of nothing. The Takan no longer exist. Don't care to be reminded. If this is why you've come, then you should leave. Now.
I'll cut right to it. The Takan have returned.
Returned? My people have come back? How can that be? I've been alone for so long. If it is true, how did they return?
Draconian technology made it possible. To enable the transfer of consciousness from one being to another after physical death. We call it bioforming. A group of Draconians calling themselves Scions of the Flame used it to reawaken after hundreds of millennia.
Scions of the Flame?
Is something wrong?
I'd hardly call them Takan. They were a radical faction with beliefs outside the mainstream. Beliefs that lesser life forms should serve as vessels to ensure Takan immortality. You want me to help you destroy them. That's why you've come. You want to destroy these Scions.
I won't lie to you. Yes, we want to destroy them.
You don't mince words.
They have an incredibly powerful energy source they call the Cartabula.
These Scions have the Cartabula.
And they've used it as a weapon against us.
I will speak with you alone.
What are you doing?
Okay. That actually is amusing. Sorry. Every now and again, you gotta flex a little. Real quick. Thank you, Kira White Noise. I think that was Kira White Noise. Let me double check. Yes, it was Kira White Noise. Thank you very, very much. Always appreciate that support. Oh god, Bionic Punk, that's terrifying. And I don't actually keep track of that in a searchable format offshore Twitch account. I'd have to manually load. Sunless Skies, Monster Hunter World, and Neo. That's an interesting question, Savacom. How would you propose not killing a bunch of conquering enslavers who like replacing other people's bodies, killing them, in order to use them as vessels for themselves? I'm not speaking facetiously or trying to make a point. I mean sincerely. Like, that's the situation. These people are pretty awful. And apparently a splinter group even for the Takan. How do we deal with that in a way that doesn't remove them from the board? Yeah, actually, Savacom. I wasn't going to say it, but I agree with your spoiler. Janeway. Jane will bring the Janeway pie. The Cabali are interesting and go out of their way to not prey on people. These don't and actually kill people. One moment, please. Or they're retrievable. I mean, there's still some question marks attached to that.
Where are we? Where's my team?
They're safe where we left them.
I see.
That the Scions have stolen the Cortamula is deeply concerning. And to be honest, I'd rather speak with you alone, John Rydick.
I know you're the PC.
Your colleagues don't know what it means to be the last of one's kind. You and I are remnants of fallen civilizations. The Kobliad, the Takan. One dying, one dead. Our species could not be more different, but we both know the meaning of loss. The others wouldn't understand. It's beyond their ability to comprehend.
I see you're hurting, and I understand your pain. But pain shouldn't stop us from moving forward.
You do not understand me, nor the pain I feel for the loss of our once glorious empire.
I don't know, the idea of dumping them into, like, a simulation like we did with Moriarty, and turning it into, like, a simulation of them conquering the Federation and being like, Mwah.
Tell me, why spend your days away from your own people when so few of them are left? Why live your life working for this Federation to which the Kobliad do not even belong? And submit yourself to their authority? It makes no sense. Not by my logic.
It's true, the Kobliad chose not to join the Federation when the offer was made. And I could have chosen to stay on my home planet, waiting for the next shipment of Diridium to arrive, biding my time and fearing for the worst. Instead, I chose to embrace the future, not fear it. Joining Starfleet gave me the opportunity not just to help my own people, but countless more. You told Riker you'd wait until you were needed. You're needed now. We need you.
As much as it pains me to learn the Cartabula has fallen into the hands of the Scions, my services are not up for offer. To be chosen as a portal was to give one's entire self to the cause of protecting the Takan Empire. I left behind everything I know, and now you want me to turn against my own people. A betrayal of my oath, and everything I vowed to protect.
These aren't the Takan you knew. They're a facsimile. They're imposters. And they tarnish the Takan name.
We've faced these questions in my time as well. What you call bioforming, we thought of as a marginal science. But if these reborn Takan plan to restore the Empire, is that a disaster to be avoided? Taconian technology is so advanced, it could save millions of species currently on the brink of extinction, including your own.
We should join the Dominion.
And at the price of a small few, think of how the many could benefit. Instead, it sounds as if you are reacting out of fear before you have a full understanding of what's at stake. I don't think you've given this full consideration. You may have more to gain than to lose.
You told me your people didn't use bioforming. That's because you knew it was wrong. Wrong to employ on an individual basis, and surely wrong on a galactic scale.
You are correct. The Takan did not use bioforming on a large scale. That the way these Scions are using it would not have been accepted when the Empire still stood. I'm curious to see these Scions masquerading as true Takan. So I will go with you, and we shall find them. But when we do, I will judge them myself as a guardian of the Takan, to understand their true intentions, for better or worse.
It's certainly your right to make your own decisions. I won't tell you otherwise.
Very well. I'll return now.
Looks like we got net green out of that.
Hold your fire. I'm all right. He's coming with us.
We assumed the worst.
She's perfectly fine. Now then, shall we?
All right. We can beam up your... Do you have any equipment or tools?
Whoa.
This is all I need.
It's so bad.
Away team +1, ready to beam up.
Real quick. I was actually thinking about this for a minute. The problem is, the reason the Takan Empire died was because of bad writing. Let's just get that out there. But we could probably patch up those plot holes if we wanted to, because the Takan Empire, which was a gargantuan interstellar empire, was taken out because there was a supernova. One supernova. The problem is, and I know this because I've studied Trek way too much, they didn't intend the Takan to be this interstellar, galaxy-spanning empire. They wanted them to be like a really, really small empire, very advanced, but otherwise essentially limited to one system. Then there were some rewritings and some reworks and some screw-ups, and their star went supernova, so they got wiped out. Okay, sure. Having said that, one of the ideas that I actually kind of like is they were an interstellar power, but you remember what we talked about earlier? If you knock out Kronos, the Klingon Empire is gone. If you push out Romulus, the Romulan Star Empire is gone. Yeah, you get it, right? You get it immediately. If the Takan were super centralized to the point where every aspect of the Empire was being funded and run and managed within their home system, that's the end of that. Just food for thought. They don't earn that. It's just something that was occurring to me. And yeah, not to spoil too much, but the Romulan Star Empire did fall to a supernova. Yeah, just...
Four warp cores. That's interesting.
Redundancy. If one goes down in battle, we can still operate.
Why don't Federation ships have redundant warp cores?
Makes this more difficult, though.
This ship can maintain warp with half the cores offline. We'll need to disable 3 of them.
Well, where are the engine schematics? Power flow routing charts.
We're soldiers, not engineers. I thought you would know what to do.
You're in good hands. We can do this.
I trust that you can.
You at least know where we should start?
This way.
Actually, that's an interesting point. I'm almost positive the Galaxy class has a redundant warp core. Now, you're probably thinking, what episode was that in? None. But I'm pretty sure in the technical manuals it is there. You know, the things that aren't arguably canon.
What are we dealing with?
Yeah, the Prometheus has to. It has to have 3. And yeah, I think you're right. I think the Intrepid was supposed to as well, which Voyager definitely doesn't acknowledge because there's several times they eject the warp core and they've got nothing else. What extremely obvious thing am I missing here? Because it's always something obvious and stupid. There we go.
Cores are running really hot. Makes sense, since they've been producing at max output since we left Hotari space.
No ship can run for very long like that. Not before a catastrophic failure hits.
It's right on the edge. We just need to figure out a way to give it a push.
I bet that console down there could tell us a few things.
Honestly, I agree with that, von Falkenstein. Interesting thought for the Trek rewrite. Redundant warp cores.
Whatever we do, we need to make sure that Takan can't undo it.
So we need a way to permanently disable the reactors that won't destroy the ship and kill us all in the process.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Warp core ejection. So the question is, how do we make it happen?
Thinking a minigame.
The safety protocols don't look much different from the Resolute. Breach protection. Reduce output, command override. Cease matter, antimatter flow, command override. Emergency warp core ejection. Computer control.
Even command functions can't override one of the most crucial safety measures.
So the protocol's still active. That's good.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of the point I was making, prisoners. We talked about that the other day when we were discussing the nature of what the Federation is. The Federation is extremely decentralized. And yeah, could, and arguably has, survived the loss of Earth.
Like we saw on the bridge, all 4 warp cores are operating at full capacity.
A single warp core breach will take out the ship easily. The problem there is you've kind of hit the nail on the head, though, Colgrim. At what level is the redundancy worth the additional cost? Put another way, if price is not a factor, then an additional warp core should 100% be mandatory in these kind of ships, because it is the central linchpin, the singular point of failure for the entire ship. Anything happens to your warp core, you are either completely vaporized by the antimatter explosion, or the ship just stops being able to function because that's where its power comes from, right? Yeah, exactly. It's the bottleneck. Now, you're probably thinking, there's no money in the future. No. Price can be a lot of things. Price can be space. Price can be construction time. Price can be expertise. Price can be building. Yeah, price can be mass of the ship, right? Price can be maintaining the extra stocks of antimatter and dilithium to keep the second core ready, right? So, I don't know. Maybe we could do a thing where, like, certain types of ships, the really long-term, large-scale ships, those are the ones that have the redundancies. Like the Intrepid, for example, which could work out really well when it comes to our Voyager. Thank you for the sub off the deeper end. Always appreciate. Exactly, Cashel. A lot of people misunderstand me when I talk about the economics of the Federation. Because a lot of people automatically assume economics means cash. If you want to put that towards up to 3 things off the deeper end, please let me know. That's another thing. Where do they get their antimatter? We know they have issues getting the lithium because it's a plot point in a bagrillion episodes, including this one, by the way. Yeah, the Oberth doesn't need it. The Nova doesn't need it. The Galaxy would probably have one. I could see an argument that the Defiant can't have one, right? Again, cost. You don't want that extra space and resources in a ship that's a gun with engines, right? But something like the Sovereign, a ship-of-the-line battleship, that probably has the redundancy. Stuff like that.
The reactor coolant system is operating at emergency containment levels.
It's just barely keeping the temperature in check.
Maybe we can use that. If it gets this high, their system considers a reactor breach imminent.
Another...
If sensors show a core is about to rupture, the computer will eject it automatically rather than risk a breach.
So we need to increase the warp core's temperatures.
If we destroy the coolant regulators, there won't be anything to keep these reactors from going over.
And it will trigger the ejection. Let's peel these suckers open. I'll take that one.
You get the other 4, as usual.
The second you two start dumping cores, the Takan will know we're here.
We'll be vulnerable. Stuck in one place while you work.
We will have to make a stand.
Do whatever you have to do to make sure we have the time to finish.
Anything?
Anything.
We'll barricade the door. Work quickly.
Also true, Zalog. I've actually had that problem in a few 4X games, where I start making a ship, and it takes so long to build that it's obsolete the moment it comes out. Would a Constitution cruiser have a redundancy? Because the NX-01 wouldn't. The NX-01, even though it's a heavy cruiser for the time, is functionally a submarine. And again, that's one of their first ships out of the gate. One of their first big ships, so no. But the Constitution... Here's a random thought. I'm not saying we should do this, but if we wanted to, we could have the Constitution come out, the initial Constitution class come out, without redundancy, and then one of the things of the overhaul that turns it into the Constitution refit, that's when the redundancy gets added. For the sake of the show, that means that during the movies they would have the redundancy, but during the show they would not, right? The Constitution is the heavy cruiser of its time. It is the Galaxy equivalent. It's a flagship. Yeah, general purpose, large scale, heavy cruiser. I don't know what else to call that. Crew of 400, for God's sakes. Any ship that splits would need multiple cores.
Might not have our tools, but our phasers can do this in a pinch.
Now, the Excelsior is an interesting one, because the Excelsior became a workhorse ship, but wasn't designed as one initially. It was initially designed as a dreadnought.
Better get this right. If we foul it up and this whole thing goes boom, we don't know how much damage that Cartabula will do if we accidentally crack it open.
Look on the bright side. If it all goes to hell, we won't be around to see the fallout.
That certainly inspires confidence.
I don't think they do, my kimono.
Warp core, but the coolant regulator has to be in here somewhere.
There you are. Time to heat things up.
Warning. Warning. Warp core output at critical level. Ejecting core.
Okay, now they're definitely gonna know we're down here.
Warp core output at critical level. Ejecting core.
Just one more to go.
They're here.
They're cutting through the door. We don't have much time.
That's an interesting point, Image.
We just gotta...
Not get distracted by that. Don't get distracted. Do your job. Seriously. What are you doing? Oh my god, it's a shooting section.
Go! Finish!
We do get a lot of those, that's true, Mike Nirvana.
Hey! Would you mind not shooting at the matter-antimatter reactor?
I'll cover you.
What? No!
Get the warp core done, or we're all dead.
Who? Lord Aramont?
Now... No! Shoot!
Warp core output at critical level. Ejecting core. Warp drive disengaged. You did it.
Now what? Jesus.
You got another way out of here?
I think so. Itasca, can you climb?
I'll see you on the parade grounds of Cirella, my friend.
Well, shoot. Yeah. Mission accomplished. We got rid of the warp core. And because of how FTL travel works, that warp core is so far back, we won't reach it for months or years. Given the speeds we were going, So we are totally stranded now.
You want me? I'm right here.
So we did it. Yes, Mike Romano. Like, they were going super ridiculous speed, too. So that thing is light years behind us. That's true, Blancheville.
Not you, too.
Calm yourself, child.
We have come to assimilate you.
It will all be better soon.
Well, she's worse than death. Why are we watching this?
Wake up, Manka Umet. Return to us.
Oh my god, assimilating's a free action. Now I'm picturing a Star Trek
Rejoin the flame.
XCOM style game.
To reclaim what was lost.
We don't need to watch this.
Seriously.
I do. I want to remember every moment when I make them pay. But this isn't the end. I will avenge Itasca. Swear to me, you will join me in this.
How about we try to save her?
That's a dream.
I swear, we will make them pay for it.
Oh my god, yes, Mike Romano. Let's make that a thing. Ah. Alright, one moment. I need to look something up very quickly here. Because this feels like a decent pause point. We're not at the lunch break yet, but... Let's see, where are we? $41. 31, excuse me. Yeah, this might not be a bad pause point. So let's go ahead and hit lunch. I will try to take as short of a lunch as possible, but I do need to eat. And then, we'll go ahead and continue this.